201 straight days of Clippers talk for you guys. Welcome in, welcome back.
Woo!
I'm Adam Osland. Got a good show for you today, including maybe a special guest. We'll see, but we're going to review all the practice audio from both sides. Coach Lou and some of the players just spoke a little while ago, including Norman Powell and Derek Jones Jr. You guys will hear from that. I always forget something. I need to plug in my computer before this feed dies. Nick of time. Ah! And we're back. All right. Battery powered up. Like I think Intuit Dome is about to be powered up. Like something we've never heard before. We haven't had a playoff game there. And David Adelman may have just set down the rake and stepped in it. What's up, Renee? I'm first. Ryan's in here second. Chris G thought he was first, and then instead he was third. Alex Webb said David Adelman poked the bear. We about to be rowdy tomorrow in the wall. Clipper Nation, how are we feeling? If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150 is the phone number. Let's start things off with reviewing David Adelman today at practice. This could get spicy.
Let's do it.
Did Mike go through practice today?
Yeah, and we didn't do a ton. I just got guys moving, walked through a lot of their stuff. Us defensively, us offensively, reacting to what we saw in game 2. But yeah, Mike was a participant.
What's kind of the optimism of him being able to go tomorrow? He was talking about how it's just sort of an unfamiliar thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very optimistic because Mike's one that I don't think he gets enough credit for how tough he is, what he's played through over these years. So his pain threshold is something that people don't understand and don't get. That he deals with all year long. So do I know if Mike's going to play? No. But I do know if Mike can play, he will. So trust Mike.
How did you like the way he bounced back?
All right. So Michael Porter Jr. is expected to play. He went through practice, and David Adelman said he's very optimistic on him playing. So unless he's playing mind games and he doesn't want to throw the Clippers off because maybe Michael Porter Jr. is not right or not good enough, he's playing. If he wasn't, it would be Peyton Watson or Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup. I'm guessing he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the 15 rebounds is a great stat for a guy that was much more engaged, and that means he's in the paint. He was hitting the offensive glass, made an enormous 3 late. That was the regret late in the game was we had the number break, didn't get a good shot. But I thought it was, the regret was not the shot we got. It was more that Mike was on the court. And to be honest, I didn't know if he was going to go back on the court. I knew he was in a lot of pain. He took himself out, rightfully so. You don't want to be on the court when you feel that kind of pain. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought he was much more engaged. Like I said, he was in the paint a lot, and a 6'10" guy like that, it really helps, to have somebody on the glass where Nikola can be more aggressive to help with Kawhi and James and Norman Powell attacking the basket. Somebody else has got to step up and rebound. He did.
Well, then what about?
So Michael Porter Jr. got hurt as Chris Dunn was diving onto the floor for a loose ball that MPJ lost. He blamed himself afterwards. He apologized to his team. That ended up leading to a Norman Powell three-pointer over Nikola Jokic on the right wing on that possession where he couldn't corral the rebound. I don't know. It just slipped out of his hands. It looked reminiscent of Chris Dunn losing the basketball out of nowhere against Minnesota in that regular season game earlier this season. But he also had 15 boards total. And this is something I'm going to talk about in a little bit here because I do have some concerns despite the series being tied at 1-1. But here was more from David Adelman.
About just his ability to keep the floor spaced and keep them honest, because he was talking about when Kawhi's out there, he has to keep an eye on him, and maybe he floats a little more when he's on other guys.
Yeah, 100%. They were bringing in a third man the whole game to the other side of the court. We talked about that today. I didn't think we consistently stayed spaced well enough to take advantage of it. And when you do that, you're having to dribble the ball too much. It leads to stuff like 20 turnovers, and that's why you lose the game. So we got to be more responsible with that. Can't have multiple people flash into open areas. Got to have one person try to create 3v2s and 2v1s behind it. But again, this is a series that's going to be really tough. They're going to adjust. We're going to adjust. Hopefully we handle it better because I think we get wide open shots on the backside.
Clippers scrambling, swarming defense against Nikola Jokic at the end of the game. Beautiful. Led to that Kawhi steal. That was also an extremely athletic play by Kawhi. But yes, the Clippers have done a very good job against Nikola Jokic, even though he had a triple-double last game. Through the first 2 games of the series, Jokic is under his season average and in all areas pretty much, and he's playing more minutes. So that tells you how good the Clippers have been. They're keeping him below his season averages while he's playing more minutes.
How's Jamal feeling? Any update on him? You said he was sick on Monday.
Yeah, a lot of us were.
So a lot of them came down with an illness, apparently, in that game on Monday night in game 2. Jamal Murray was one of them.
For sure. And Jamal was, when he showed up, I didn't know if he was going to play. I mean, he was very sick.
He was good, 9 of 17. Oh, he was sick. He was sick with it. Had 23 points, 4 of 8 from the outside. He played better than he did in game 1, Jamal Murray.
But you know how he is. You know, he got hydrated. They put all the meds in him, whatever they did. I don't know. But he was able to play 40-plus minutes, feeling not so well. So he looked better today. You know how it is. Like every day you feel a little bit better. Obviously, get a good night's sleep tonight, have all day tomorrow, get ready to go tomorrow night.
Game 2 was a momentum shift. What is your sense of this group and how they'll respond tomorrow?
Well, I think they'll respond, great. And I also think I didn't feel like it's a momentum shift. I thought we played better in game 2 than game 1, and we won game 1. So I think they're feeling the same way. This series should be 1-1. Either team could say, man, we could be up 2-0. Well, both teams could say, man, we could be down 0-2. So it's that kind of series. We travel well on the road. We got veteran players down there. It's not going to be a thing where it's the first time we're going on the road in the playoffs. That's not what this is. We know the environment. We know what to expect. And I think you have to embrace the moment. 1-1, 4 seed, 5 seed, chance to move on to the second round. Like, this is what you want. So going into a hostile environment sounds fun to me.
All right. More on that hostile environment at Intuit Dome coming up. Sounds fun to me, says David Adelman. Okay. We shall see. I'm not so sure about that one. More?
David, going back to a lot of people were feeling under the weather. Was there a bug going through, and what's the status of that?
You'd have to ask Dr. Morteza. I don't really know, but it was, a lot of people were hit all the way through front office, all the way down. So, I mean, there's no excuses here. It's just we have plenty of medical people to get us going. So hopefully it doesn't spread. Hopefully someone will wake up tomorrow not feeling well. But it did hit a few people. Had nothing to do with the game or the outcome. Just what happened.
You can correct me.
All right. Hold on. We got somebody on hold here. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. Welcome to Clipper Stock. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Ryan from Burbank. Adam, how are you?
Ryan, how are you feeling? I'm good.
Feeling great. I am feeling absolutely phenomenal right now. This is Adam, the Clippers should have won both games in Denver. They should have won them both.
Here's the problem,
They
Ryan.
should be up 2-0 right now.
The Denver Nuggets can say the exact same thing. They should have won both. Aaron Gordon missed a dunk wide open last game.
So Adam, I'm gonna push back on this, and this is the main reason I'm gonna push back.
How?
Denver, 20 free throws, more than the Clippers in the 2 games combined. 21. 11 in the first game, 10 in the second.
But Ryan, they led the league in free throws attempted all season long. This isn't out of the norm. It's not.
I totally get that, but I'm telling you that's going to be different at Intuit Dome. There's no way they're going to get that many calls at Intuit Dome. You know that.
Okay, I do agree with that. The Clippers haven't gotten a great whistle through 2 games, but
I mean, Adam, we had a situation where James Harden was ran into and he was called for a foul. I mean, come on, like this. I mean, some of these foul calls were absolutely horrendous. Like, I mean, borderline flopping from Jokic.
No, not borderline, straight flopping from Nikola Jokic. I love him. He's one of my favorite players I've ever watched, but you got to call it as you see it.
So I push back a little bit on that. The other thing I push.
But here's the thing. They just lost a game where they out rebounded the Clippers by 18 and by 8 on offensive rebounds. That rarely ever happens. I'm telling you, you can look at it from both sides and say either team could be up 2-0.
I don't disagree with that assessment. The rebounding has to get better. Again, I am one of those people. I'm just going to put it out there right now. Ty Lue should be starting Nico Batum or Derrick Jones Jr. I'm just saying that right now. I love Norman Powell. He's been great the whole year. In a series like this, where the rebounding is really essential, especially on offensive rebounds, where Westbrook misses a wide open three and then Aaron Gordon dunks it, like that type of thing, or, gets the putback on that. Like, that's where I'm saying the offensive rebounding, the rebounding is really going to be a factor. I love Nico Batum. He's a big-time player. He's played really great in this series already. I would love to see him starting. My other thing, too, about Powell and Bogey both, they've played pretty terrible. I mean, like, by their standards this season.
Except Norm in the fourth quarter last game.
1,000%. He was good, but I'm saying the amount he was 0 of 5 to start the game, and those were all open shots.
I know
all of them were open shots.
But here's the thing:
those are not shots that you.
Ryan, if they don't get it going, the Clippers aren't beating them 3 more times. They need them to get it going. Like, you can't just go away. First of all, going away from Norm typically means you're playing Bogey more, but he hasn't been good enough. So you need one of them at least to have it going. I think Coach Lue, obviously, him sticking with Norman Powell, they don't win that game in game 2 if he doesn't stick with him in the fourth quarter. It ended up working out. He knew they needed Norm as the series moved along. I don't disagree, though, with Nico Batum getting more minutes, especially late in games, because that's when the plethora of offensive rebounds have been happening from the Denver Nuggets.
Well, and I'm going to say this too, Adam, about just the way the game flow has gone and why I still love the Clippers is because you had Jokic breathing through a tube in the last game. You saw him just absolutely exhausted. He was clearly playing a ton. Now, to be fair, there was only a one game break in between those 2 games, so that they only had 1 day off between them. So that's the fair thing there. And they played an overtime game in game 1. But we can see that the longer this series goes on and the more minutes these guys, because I mean, it's effectively a barely 6-man rotation for Denver, because Peyton Watson and the other rookie, what are they playing? A combined 20 minutes. So effectively, Westbrook is the 5th starter if they're going to go with Michael Porter Jr. in big minutes or not.
Yeah.
So that's the other big thing that I love about the Clippers team is that Denver is effectively playing a 6-man rotation, playing Murray, Jokic almost 43, 44 minutes in these games.
Coach Lue is counting on that. Coach Lue is counting on that.
Oh yeah. But Adam, you saw it though at the end of the game when Jokic threw that ball out of bounds at that late turnover. I mean, that's exhaustion.
It's mental fatigue.
Turnovers that are happening.
I agree.
And so that's, to me, I'm like, when those things keep happening and keep compounding as we get later into the series, and that mean they're going to get 2 days off here and then they're going to get a 1-day break. But I'm just saying, like, the foul calls are going to go a little bit differently. They're going to be playing in front of a home crowd. You're going to start hitting those open jumpers that you're missing, especially if they're being wide open.
Especially the role players. Like, I expect Bogey to have a big game. I do.
Oh, I think Norman Powell, Bogey, I think are both going to have huge games in either games 3 or 4. They're going to come through.
Completely.
The other thing that happened in game 1, Adam, they had 20 turnovers. They had 20 turnovers in game 1.
But then Denver had 20. Denver did the same thing in game 2, though. Like, it completely flipped. They had 11 turnovers in game 1. The Clippers had 20 turnovers. In game 2, the Clippers only had 11, and Denver had 20 turnovers. So, it was their star and Kawhi having 7 turnovers in game 1. It was Denver's star and Jokic having 7 turnovers in game 2. So it is that close of a series so far. But I don't disagree. They should get more calls being at home, and the role players should play much better, because the truth is you can't rely on Kawhi going 15 of 19 every game. That's just not going to happen. Like, without a complete Kawhi masterclass, they don't get by in game 2.
Well, and Adam, they had a complete Harden masterclass in game 1. He was phenomenal in game 1. So that's what, you can make a lot of cases that Harden should have taken the last shot in game 1 to end regulation. Like that, I think that he probably should have, because he was so hot that entire game. But the end of the thing for me, though, is you've had 2 really good games by your stars in games 1 and games 2. Like you said, the role players now will step up being at home. They're going to get more foul calls. I firmly believe that the foul calls will even out as the series goes on. So that's going to be a factor. But I'm just saying, Adam, if they're leaving these guys open for wide open threes and wide open jumpers, and they start making them, I just think you're going to see a dramatically different series. I think the turnover thing too is the other huge portion of this, because a lot of those errors that were happening with Harden and Kawhi, those were unforced turnovers, a lot of them. They're just throwing the ball at places where they shouldn't be. You know, I even look at that last turnover with Kawhi and Murray. Like, when is the last time Kawhi's ever got the ball poked out of his hands? His hands are like the biggest things in the world. He's getting poked out by Murray, like, to end the game. Like, that's so rare for that to happen to Kawhi.
Look, the Clippers are the better team when it comes to playoff rotations and your 8 or 9 guys. The question is Jokic due for a crazy 40-point game where he hardly misses as well? And can you overcome that by some of the other guys with the Clippers coming along and shooting much better with Norman Powell and Bogey? And I expect them to be better. But I also know at some point here, Jokic is going nuclear. And can you survive in that game? Because the Clippers are the deeper team. They are the less fatigued, better, more well-rested team. But the Denver Nuggets, to this point, I do think have the best player in the world. Now, Kawhi can prove otherwise. Kawhi can prove otherwise in this series, and you can make the argument if they come out and win this series and he's better than Jokic, that Kawhi healthy is still better. But that's the only thing I really worry about. I think the Clippers need to get both at Intuit Dome and go up 3-1. And I know that's a little bit scary to go up 3-1 against Denver, but come on. You need to protect home court. You don't want to have to rely on getting another game in Denver.
Adam, I think you're right on every single point you made. Firstly, we're going to see a huge Jokic game. That's going to happen. You've been seeing him deferring more and passing more throughout this series because he's getting doubled. But I firmly believe he's going to go score heavy in one of those 2 games. I think he's going to just say, I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to start trying to score inside. I'm going to start shooting the threes. I think we're going to get that. And I would welcome that, because normally Denver is a better team when Jokic gets everyone involved rather than it becomes ISO heavy with Jokic being the primary scorer. So I'm fine with that. And I think we're going to get that in one of these next 2 games. And I think also, Adam, you're right. We're going to get both at Intuit Dome. I think Clippers go up 3-1. I'm not utterly unconvinced that they don't win this thing in 5, Adam. I know it'll be close. These games will be close. But I'm telling you, if Kawhi is healthy and we are getting this Kawhi Leonard, yes, he's not going to shoot 15 and 19. Yes, correct. His efficiency will drop off a little bit.
Go 12 of 20. Give me 12 of 20 with 3 threes.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute monster, though, Adam. I'm telling you, he's going to be a huge factor in this. The fact that he made the game-winning shot.
Big if true. Kawhi's going to be a huge factor in this.
No. I'm just. We all know it's like, look, we all have a PTSD from seeing Kawhi get hurt so much. But as long as he is healthy, as long as he's playing this way, the way we know that he can play when he's playoff Kawhi, there's like 3 players maybe better than him. Seriously, in the league at this point, you can make a compelling case. He's a top 3 player in this league at this point.
Oh, of course. So I thought last season,
I love their chances.
What's crazy to me is, you listen to the national media, and right after that game on TNT, Ernie Johnson goes, I can't remember the last time he's played this well. And I'm like, Jesus, guys, he played 68 games last season. He was in the MVP conversation when he went on the most efficient run in NBA history over a 30-game stretch. I can remember. I'm very aware of when the first 2 games against Phoenix, if you want to just go playoff-wise. Yes, he was outstanding those first 2 games. We don't have to look that far. People keep going, this is the best he's looked since 2019. He looked better in the 2021 playoffs before he went down after the first 11 games. Like, God, these goldfish memories kill me. I get it, but it's just annoying for anyone so close to the situation. Look, Kawhi, when healthy, has been playing at this high of a level for a while now. This isn't something new, which also tells you, I think the point is, it can be sustainable. It's just about health. That's it. It's not like.
Well, and Adam, my thing to you, Adam, who on Denver is stopping Kawhi? Who's the defender on Kawhi that's going to stop him?
Aaron Gordon is pretty good. He got cooked in game 2, but he is pretty good. The problem is they kept soft switching and letting Murray go on to him constantly, which got Kawhi in rhythm early. He went 8 for 8 against Jamal Murray in that game. He's 10 for 10 overall in the series against Jamal Murray.
Yeah, Adam, he's going to cook Jamal Murray every time. Like that's
I can't believe
if
they keep giving up that matchup so easily. I would not let that happen.
Yeah, that's to me. I mean, but again, like we're talking about, like, oh, what's the sustainability of this? I'm like, yeah, no, Eric Gordon can give him trouble. Like he's. I'm not taking anything away from Eric Gordon as a defender. He's a solid defender, and he will give Kawhi trouble. But the idea of, again, Eric Gordon is playing damn near 40 minutes in all of these games, getting very little rest.
Well, and he's been
you're
banged
asking
up.
him to then score.
He's been banged up.
So now you're asking him to score 20, at least 20 points, and to guard the best. I mean, it's just a lot. And you saw it with, again, he missed a wide open dunk. I'm just saying, like, everyone's like, how could you do that? I'm like, bro, when you're tired, you have those mental miscues. That's what happens. That's exactly where the fatigue comes in.
That's like that happens once out of 100 times, though. That is way fluky, and we'll take it. And the basketball gods haven't smiled on the Clippers very much over the years, so we will absolutely take it. But yeah, I agree.
Adam. I agree, Adam.
No. I think there's an opportunity where if you get on top of the Denver Nuggets tomorrow night early on, you could have one of those playoff blowout games where even though both games have been tight, the first two, going back home, game 3, after winning game 2 with that momentum, with the crowd behind them, there could be an opportunity early where the Clippers could be looking for a kill shot. That is my hope. Denver's so good, you can't expect that, but I wouldn't be shocked if something like that happened if the Clippers come out with the right sense of urgency. You can't just rely on being home. You can't do that. You have to pretend that you're still in Denver and you have to be perfect out there. But not too
my feeling with the game tomorrow, Adam, is going to be, I think Denver's going to come out really aggressive in the first 2 quarters. They played actually pretty lethargic. Like they played good. Good in quarter 1 in game 2, really bad in quarter 1 in game 1. They played not great in quarter 2 yet, the last game. I think they play a decent first half, and I think the Clippers will jump all over them in the second half. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it will be. The spread right now, Adam, is 5. If I'm a betting man, I like the Clippers by 8 to 10 tomorrow. That's my feel for the game. I think we go up 2-1, but I think game 4 is really where the mental thing comes into play because, like you said, if you could put a kill shot on Denver and say you have to beat us 3 times, that's going to be a really hard ask for a team that, again, is playing six men effectively in a rotation. That's going to be really, really hard to do.
Yeah, I just think the Clippers win game 3, and if they can do it convincingly, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Denver Nuggets in that game 4, and game 4 could turn into, you know what, I don't want to go to game 4 yet, F that. We're talking game 3, and that's it. I ain't looking too far ahead. I'm going with Kawhi Leonard's motto and just living in the present. But, all right, anything else, Ryan?
No, I love you, Adam. Thanks so much for doing this. Go Clips. I can't wait to hear the wall just banging tomorrow night. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a great one.
And there's more of an incentive for the wall to be louder than ever. As there goes Ryan from Burbank. If you guys want to get on, 877-520-1150. I believe the question's coming up to David Adelman here.
If I'm wrong, but it felt like the Clippers did a good job keeping Harden out of action on your 3-man actions, whether it's double drags, anything else. What type of things can you guys try to do to get him more involved defensively?
Yeah, and I think it's, they moved him around to different matchups. And I think sometimes you can overcoach and you try to presuppose who he's going to be on instead of saying whoever he's on, this person has to be part of that action. Whether it's splits or touch actions, catch and shoot plays, cross screens for Nikola, all those things. And James has great hands. He's actually a very underrated post-up defender. But yeah.
So they're talking about getting James in the action more, getting guys switched on to James Harden more. That's a little scary. Spamming that more. It's easy to say it game plan wise. Everybody does it. They know they should do it. But as the game flow happens, sometimes those little details get lost and you forget about, going after this guy a ton. Now, the Clippers were great at going after Jamal Murray in game 2 over and over again. But this is a little bit scary.
We have to get him involved. It's more so to affect him on the other end.
That's always what it is. That's why you want Jokic having to guard the pick and roll more, because it's hard to slow him down on the offensive side. It's damn near impossible. The only way to do it is to wear him out on the defensive side. They're thinking the same thing with James Harden.
It's not just get James Harden involved. It's, well, if he guards and he's handling the ball, 80% of the time for them, hopefully you can wear him down a little bit if he's playing 40 minutes.
Trends,
Smart.
sometimes a series can evolve and then change and shift in ways that you don't really expect. But are there any trends that you think are going to continue to kind of stay the same that you've seen through the first couple?
I just think we're both going to adjust and do a lot of different stuff throughout. I thought we did some things that were effective last game that we probably should have gone back to more, but they only had 105 points. And so there's that weird, do we do something different out of a timeout? And then you get Bogdanovich going.
This is really smart from David Adelman. When you hold a team to 105 points, you're going, we should win that game. They felt the same way the Clippers did after game 1. That was a missed opportunity. They feel like that in game 2. So they miss a ton of free throws. They miss a dunk at the end. They have 20 turnovers. A lot of those were mental mistakes, the kind of unforced turnovers the Clippers had in game 1. They are feeling the same way as the Clippers felt after game 1, where they want to respond, where they're probably going to be much more focused, sharper, crisper out there. But him saying this specifically about, they don't want the others of the Clippers to get going. They have guarded Bogey really well. They haven't let him get many open shots. Now, Bogey has to be better regardless, but he's talking about striking that balance of, we did a lot of things good in that game. We don't want to change too much. We start letting up in one area to fix something, and now there's a new problem that's created. Bogey starts to get it going. Listen to this. I think this is really interesting.
Back to more, but I just think we're both going to adjust and do a lot of different stuff throughout. I thought we did some things that were effective last game that we probably should have gone back to more, but they only had 105 points. And so there's that weird, do we do something different out of a timeout? And then you get Bogdanovich going because you did it. Now he makes a shot. He sees it go through, and now he impacts a game or the series or whatever it may be. So
they are very aware that Bogey can flip a series, impact a ball game. They don't want to see him hit a shot. So you have to be very careful with your adjustments, because so far there have been some things that have worked really well for them, like keeping Bogey down.
It's a fine line between, I think we're doing a really good job, but also you can't give them the same look all the time. So same thing tomorrow. I know those are different.
I spilled some soda, guys. I'll be right back.
Mike go through practice today?
Yeah, and we didn't do a ton. I just got guys moving, walk through a lot of their stuff, us defensively, us offensively, reacting to what we saw in game 2. But yeah, Mike was a participant.
What's kind of the optimism of him being able to go tomorrow? He was talking about how it's just sort of an unfamiliar pain for him.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic because Mike's one that I don't think gets enough credit for how tough he is, what he's played through over these years. So his pain threshold is something that people don't understand and don't get. That he deals with all year long. So do I know if Mike's going to play? No.
What do I say
know
first?
if Mike
My
can play,
computer,
he will.
the phone?
So trust Mike.
How did you like when he bounced back in game 2?
Yeah, I thought the 15 rebounds is a
Sorry,
great
I
stat
just had
for
to
a guy
start
that was
David
much more
Adelman
engaged.
over again.
That means he's in the paint.
I got a situation
Hit the
here.
offensive glass.
It ain't
made an
Jersey
enormous
Shore, but we got a
three-point.
situation here.
That was a regret. late
This is
in
what
the
I
game
get
when
for
he
being
had the
overly
number
fucking
break.
caffeinated. I'm
Didn't
never
get a
drinking
good
Diet
shot.
Coke again after today.
But I thought it was, the regret was not the shot we got. It was more that Mike was on the court.
I'm taking
And
my
to be
phone out of
honest,
the
I didn't know if he
case,
was gonna go
which
back
hasn't been removed since I put it
knew he was
on.
in a lot of pain. took
Freaking
himself out.
OtterBox.
So you don't want to be on the court when you feel that kind of pain. So, yeah, I just thought he was much more engaged. Like I said, he was in the paint a lot, and a 6'10" guy like that, it really helps, to have somebody on the glass for Nicole.
This is a disaster.
Aggressive to help with Kawhi and James and Norman Powell attacking the basket.
You know how many electronics we have in here?
Well, then what about
My boss walks in right now.
Floor space and keep them honest, because he was talking about when Kawhi's out there, he has to keep them honest. Maybe he floats
All right,
a little more.
I got the dry towel.
Yeah, 100%.
I got that part of it done.
They were bringing in a third man.
Now I got to
the whole
bring
game,
in like
side of the
the
court.
damp towel.
We talked about that today.
Clean
I
off the
didn't think
stickiness
we
from the soda.
consistently stayed
That will be
spaced well
here if
enough
I don't.
to take advantage of it. And when you do that, you're having to dribble
I'm
the ball
so
too
sorry,
much.
guys.
It leads to stuff like
Give me a
20
second.
turnovers, and that's why you lose the game. So we got to be more responsible with that. Can't have multiple people flash into open areas. Got to have one person try to create 3v2s and 2v1s behind it. But again, this is a series that's going to be really tough. They're going to adjust. We're going to adjust. Hopefully we handle it better, because I think we get wide open shots on the backside.
How's Jamal feeling? Any update on him? You said he was sick on Monday.
Yeah, a lot of us were. For sure. And Jamal was, when he showed up, I didn't know if he was going to play. I mean, he was very sick. But you know how he is. You know, he got hydrated. They put all the meds in him, whatever they did, I don't know. But he was able to play 40-plus minutes, feeling not so well. So he looked better today. You know how it is. Like every day you feel a little bit better. Obviously, get a good night's sleep tonight, have all day tomorrow, get ready to go tomorrow night.
Gosh, freaking damn
What
it.
is your sense of this group?
All right, I got the damn towel going.
Well,
Then I got some dry towels. I'm gonna
great. And I also
use
think,
after
I didn't
this.
feel like it's one shift. I think that
There's more under the
I thought
computer.
we played better in game 2 than
Are we
game
still
1,
on?
and we won game 1. So I think they're feeling the same way. This series should be 1-1. Either team could say, man, we could be up 2-0. Well, both teams could say, man, we could be down 0-2. So it's that kind of series.
Give me a
we
second.
Travel well on the road. We got
I know.
better players down there. It's
You've
not gonna be a
never-
thing where it's the first
or you're never
time
going
we're
to
on
want
the
to hear
road
from
in
David
playoffs.
Adelman
That's not
again
what this is. We know the environment.
after how long
We know what to expect. And I
in
think
the
you have to
replay of
embrace
this
the
press
moment.
conferences that I'm
You know, 1-1,
doing. Ugh.
4 seed, 5 seed,
think-
chance to move on to the second round.
Are we
Like,
out
this
of the
is what you
woods
want.
yet?
So
Are
going
we
into
out
a
of the
hostile
woods yet? Are we out of the
environment
woods
sounds fun to
yet?
me.
What's that Taylor Swift song? I think we're almost
feeling
there.
under the weather. Was there a bug going through? And what's the
You know who
status
lives
of
in
that?
the
You have
woods?
to ask Dr.
A
Martinez.
bear.
I don't really know. But it
David
was,
Adelman
yeah, a
poked the
lot of
bear
people
today.
hit,
We're about to hear that.
all the way through front office, all the way down. So, I mean, there's no
Gosh,
excuses here. It's just
freaking-
we have plenty of medical people to get us going. So, hopefully it doesn't spread. Hopefully someone will wake up tomorrow.
I'm
not
never
feeling
doing a
well.
live show
But
again.
it did hit a few
Just
people. Had nothing to do with the game or the outcome. Just what happened.
You correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like the Clippers did a good job keeping Harden out of action on your 3-man actions, whether it's double drags, anything else. What type of things can you guys try to do to get him more involved defensively?
Yeah, and I think it's, they moved him around to different matchups, and I think
It's still not
sometimes,
as bad
you can overcoach
as having to
and you
pee
try
into a
think,
water
you try to
bottle 'cause I got
presuppose
stuck
who
in
he's gonna be
traffic on the
instead of
way
saying
home.
whoever he's on, this
I
person
see
has
you guys
to play
referencing
action.
that on the way home
Whether
from a
it's
game
splits or touch
while I was doing a
actions,
live
catch and
feed.
shoot plays,
Not that
cross
I
screens for Nicola, all those things. And
did
James
that
has great
part
hands.
live.
He's actually a very underrated post-up defender. But yeah, we have
That
to
was
get him
Clippers
involved
Talk
more
After
so
Dark at
to
its
affect
most
him on the
extreme.
other end. It's not
Okay.
just get James Harden involved.
My Pixel
It's,
6A.
well, if he
Yeah, I'm a
guards
couple
and he's
generations
handling the
behind.
ball
I think it's
80%
so
of the
fresh and
time
so
for
clean.
them, hopefully you can wear him
I think
down.
we're all
while
right
he's
here.
playing 40 minutes.
Trends.
We're all right here. We're fine. How are you?
Shift in ways that you don't really expect. but
Jiminy
are there any
effing
trends that you think
Christmas.
are going to continue to kind of stay the same that you've seen through the first couple?
The
I
culprit.
just think we're both going to adjust and do a lot of different stuff throughout. I
The
thought we did some
culprit.
things that were effective last game that we probably should have gone back to more, but they only had 105 points. And so there's that
All right.
weird,
Fully
do we do
operational.
something different out of a timeout? And then you get Bogdanovich going because you did it. Now he makes a shot. He sees it go through.
Hey, we're right back where we started. Did I get godsmacked by the engineer gods, the sound mixer gods for having an open container so close to everything? Maybe. Did I get everything? I mean, you guys want to see the stuff that's in here? Look at this. This is a problem. You can't be spilling soda in here, Adam. All right. Oh, the mouse is disgusting. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. There's more. It's like the walls shooting out blood in Evil Dead 2 where it just doesn't stop and Bruce Campbell is just, it's comical. There's more. There's more soda. Guys, the bosses know. The bosses have been alerted. They were both in the bathroom. I'm on a live feed right now, Brian. See, it's fine, right? Nothing's been affected. You didn't see anything. Everything's fine. It's cleaner than ever. Shit. Did you hear that? All right. Clippers sippy cup is needed. Wow, there's more people here now than when I spilled. Is this good content? Okay, I think we're exactly where we were. Wait. Keyboard check. Sticky. Sticky. Still sticky. I feel like I should be in incognito mode. What is going on? All right, I think I got it. Yes. F. All right. And by the way, the soda's still right next to me. Am I learning from my mistakes? No. Clippers do. I don't. What happened to my phone case? Is it totally trashed? Where the hell did that go? That was a problem too. You guys remember? Did I just throw it? F it. I can figure that out afterwards. The phone's clean. Here we go. David Adelman. I think we're right here.
That were effective last game that we probably should have gone back to more, but they only had 105 points. And so there's that weird, do we do something different out of a timeout? And then you get Bogdanovich going because you did it. Now he makes a shot. He sees it go through. And now he impacts a game or the series or whatever it may be. So it's a fine line between, I think we're doing a really good job, but also you can't give them the same look all the time. So same thing tomorrow. I know they'll do different things. We will too. We like the results of some of the stuff we did as far as the cross matching and other alignments we put out there. But it's just like, your question about James Harden, it's going to change tomorrow again. And they're going to hide him in different ways, and they're going to show us different looks, and Nicole's going to see different things. So the trend for me has been the randomness, and the major trend in this series has been the physicality. And playing through that, and game one, they turned it over, we win. Game two, we turn it over, they win. Late in the game, too. So got to take care of it and give ourselves a chance to win down there.
I am a little bit concerned at the officiating. I do think the Clippers will get a better whistle back at home. That's how it goes. But what if they started calling it differently? Who would that favor? Because it has been very physical. I guess it can't be much worse. Clippers getting 20 less free throws or whatever it was over the first two games. But I remember the first two games of last year's series against Dallas. It was so bleeping physical. They were letting everything go. And then they tightened up the whistle a little bit. We shall see. I got the Jokic flopping for you guys coming up here. I guess we have to review that tape some more. But this is the centerpiece of the episode right now.
Yeah, you mentioned hostile crowd, and I asked Peyton as a SoCal kid, with it being really a Lakers town.
Yeah.
Them having their own building, did you notice a difference with the Clippers now? And obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space, because you've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
Uh-oh. Anyone else hear that?
I've made a huge mistake.
Anyone else hear what he just said? I don't know if he should have said that.
Space, because you've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
It's like a high school crowd. Don't worry, it's actually really cool. Was that a shot? Should he have said that?
I've made a huge mistake.
I don't know.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that?
Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. It's like a high school crowd. Don't take offense. It's actually really cool. Hold on. And then he kind of doubles down and steps in it again. And by it, I mean not just Diet Coke. I mean a steaming pile of Triceratops crap
that Jeff Goldblum set his eyes on and said, that is one big pile of shit. He stepped in it here, I think, guys.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix.
They pump sound in that place.
I've made a huge mistake.
Is he inferring that there's fake crowd noise? I know some have misinterpreted the quote and have said he said pump crowd noise in. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. Let's be accurate here, as we always are.
The crowd at the end of towards our bench said it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not.
It's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. Is he inferring that they're pumping fake crowd noise in, or that they're just keeping the music very loud? Because there are different ways to interpret that. I think either way, it's not going to go well for him tomorrow night.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. Job is here, a.k.a. David Adelman.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not.
He's got a little smile on his face, whether the crowd is cheering or not. Ooh, I think they're going to be cheering tomorrow.
I've made a huge mistake.
This may have been his first rookie mistake. And he should know better. Why? Because his dad's Rick Adelman. He knows how loud Arco Arena used to get back in the day with cowbells. They aren't going to need them at Intuit Dome. But it sounded like he implied, first of all, the high school setting. Record scratch. I don't think people want to hear that. Second of all, did he imply that they are pumping in fake crowd noise? It's ear the beholder here. It depends on how you hear it, but I know either way, he's going to be hearing it tomorrow.
Some hostile crowd, and I asked Peyton as a SoCal kid, with it being really a Lakers town,
Yeah.
them having their own building. Did you notice a difference with the Clippers now? And obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space, you've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench said it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
I think he knew how that could be taken, and he tried to cover for it, saying, which is actually really cool.
I've made a huge mistake.
David Adelman, I love you. I tried to be kind to this quote earlier with Dime Dropper, but it's over. It's over. Intuit Dome is going to be even louder now. They are taking this as disrespect. Trust me.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place
They pump sound in. What do you...
I've made a huge mistake.
He didn't say they pump crowd noise in, but he did say they pump sound in. Did he mean just music? I think we're all going to take that as crowd noise.
It's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench said it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches.
Okay, I got some homework for you guys right now. While I'm doing the show, and we may have a special guest in a little bit here, and we're going to hear from Coach Lou. He talked about the Phoenix crowd from a couple of years ago. Was that noise accused of them using fake crowd noise? That's how we can determine for sure if he is comparing this to a place that did pump in fake crowd noise, because he went back to the Phoenix series they played at, what's their arena called at the moment? It's not Talking Stick. What is it called? Phoenix Arena. That's all it is right now. PHX. It was Chesapeake, I think, for a while. Or no, that's OKC. I thought it was Talking Stick. The Phoenix Suns Arena. Somebody go back and look if they were accusing them of pumping in fake crowd noise? Because if that's the case and he's comparing that to Intuit Dome, then he's for sure saying fake crowd noise.
It's an amazing building, but in their own space. You've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches.
He's talking about when Suns and 4 guy was let loose, when they lost in the second round to them in 2021, right? Or is that 2022 when they lost to them in the second round? Or both? Footprint Center is still its name. I don't know if it is anymore, because you look up Suns Arena and it just comes up PHX Arena. So I don't know if they have naming rights right now. Can somebody see if that was a thing during that series between Denver and Phoenix on if they were being accused of fake crowd noise? Because he's comparing Intuit Dome to Phoenix's arena. Or does he just mean it's really loud with the music?
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go.
Trying to show us some love. See, I think he knows he may have offended, and now he's trying to backtrack like Deion Sanders, or like Chris Dunn and DJ, since those are the Clippers shutdown corners.
So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy.
Is he trying to make up for a perceived slight? That Clipper Nation certainly has taken it that way.
It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy.
So wait, what do we got here with the Phoenix? There's news reports of fake crowd noise. Uh-oh. Suns, can somebody send a link in here? Let's see. I see Suns analysts alleging the Pelicans piped in fake crowd noise. Ooh, I see something called the Phoenix Suns pumped in crowd noise dilemma. This is from 2024. They want to cheer, they want to heckle, but they can't because of all the artificial noise. So this article, I think, is saying that they are pumping in fake crowd noise, and it's taking away from organic cheering going on. As a Suns community, let's try to change that. Ooh, I don't know. I think David Adelman may not be just talking about the music. I was wrong then about that. I think he's definitely saying they pump in some fake crowd noise here. One more time.
Reminds me of Phoenix.
As a SoCal kid, with it being really a Lakers town, them having their own building, did you notice a difference with the Clippers now? And obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space. You've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One,
well, it's been the Lakers building when the Clippers were playing in the old. You mean the Kings hockey building that the Lakers pay rent in? Let's get our reporting accurately here.
Having their own building, did you notice a difference with the Clippers now? And obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space. You've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
I can't get over the way he looks at the cameras, which is actually really cool.
I've made a huge mistake.
That it's over. David, I love you. I love your coaching philosophy and everything, but the noise is going to be so deafening tomorrow. Clipper Nation is getting up like we haven't heard all season. I think the loudest I heard it was maybe the Cavs game, because that game was so tight and the stakes were high. And it was a good measuring stick opportunity. It felt like a playoff game in there. But now we're going to find out exactly what a playoff game atmosphere is at Intuit Dome. And I can only imagine how loud it's going to get.
Space. You've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
That's not how we're going to take it.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So
that's the other little backhanded compliment part of this. It's really loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. I should have picked up on that earlier.
Where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not.
See, he's got a grin on his face like he knows that was a dig. He knows that was a shot. Ooh. Poking the bear. I didn't know he was Dylan Brooks. I poke bears. I didn't know David Adelman was built this way. Now, keep it classy, Clipper Nation, but make it loud as hell. Make it deafening. Make it like a damn air show. As hopefully DJ Airplane Mode gets up for a few, but gets everybody out of their seats.
So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy.
Very end, he tries to make it right. It's too late. It's too late. Is somebody going to ask him about this pregame?
I've made a huge mistake.
Typically, I don't go to the away coach's pregame presser because I got to get back upstairs after coach lose. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll let the media, I'll let them do their thing. It's not my job. Speaking of, we may have a special guest coming up here. Oh, I'm taking calls. 877-520-1150 if you guys want to get on. 877-520-1150. Is this shade from David Adelman?
With the Clippers now, and obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space, you've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, two things stood out.
It was never the Lakers building. It's the Kings building. All right. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Oslin. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Barry from Ohio.
Oh, my guy. How we doing?
I'm doing good. That game was great. Kawhi's the man. He just, outside of being a Clippers fan, just watching him is a joy.
It's going to be a joy watching him at Intuit Dome with a sellout crowd, with a playoff atmosphere tomorrow night, and a crowd that's going to be even more fired up after what we just heard from David Adelman.
Yeah, and on the behalf of Clippers fans that don't live in Los Angeles, show up for it. We're going to be sending y'all spirit energy from here. We'll be cheering here. Show up. And I feel like that whole diss and everything he was saying was very much intentional. I seen the little smirk. Pull up early. Show out for the boys. They've been balling for us all year. Let's go Clipper Nation.
So Barry from Ohio, who can't be there, and all of Clipper Nation that can't be there, that puts more pressure on those who are there to perform and be loud for them. You got to get up.
Exactly.
You got to be their surrogates. You got to do what you can as a fan. It has to be louder than it's ever been. I want them to set the record. What's the loudest a basketball arena has ever been? I'm going to look this up right now. Loudest basketball game. Loudest basketball arena. So, okay. I got something here.
Mm-hmm.
This is saying Allen Fieldhouse. So, wait, is that where Duke plays? I believe. Is that right? No, that's Kansas. Kansas.
We could beat that. That's nothing.
I'm trying to see what the decibel level was at, because at the second half point, they always show the decibel level. So they got to 130 decibels. I think I've seen Intuit Dome get somewhere around 115 maybe at its loudest. So we're going to have to get louder. That's facts.
You know, being a fan and not really being able to go and watch games. The one game I remember that was just extremely loud. You remember that game 6 against Utah?
Oh, yeah. But that wasn't even full. That wasn't even full
Yeah, and
because of
I
COVID
think we could do better
restrictions.
than that. And that wasn't our arena.
Oh, it was loud as hell in there. It was loud.
Yeah.
That's a memory I will always hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, the goal, get above 130. Get above 130 is the goal.
And drink water. We need it throughout the game. Not the first quarter. We need it in the fourth quarter. We need to be louder in the fourth quarter than we were in the first quarter. So drink water and support the boys.
Stay hydrated. Barry, anything else?
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I just think the biggest thing is getting the other guys back in the rhythm, like Bogey. I'm expecting Bogey to at least hit a three and get his rhythm back. And if Norm gets his rhythm back, I think we could win both these games at the crib. So,
if Norm and Bogey start to get it going, look the hell out.
Mm-hmm.
If they start to cook, look out. That will be the Clippers running on all cylinders. All right, Barry. Appreciate you holding it down in Ohio for Clipper Nation, man. Be good.
We'll do.
877-520-1150. If anybody wants to get on, more from David Adelman.
I mean, one, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool.
More of the same. I went back to the same part. We got another phone call here. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on Clipper South with Adam Osland.
It's Clipper Chris.
Clipper Chris, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Adam, okay, so since Russell Westbrook left the Clippers and what he's been doing for Denver up to this point, I was wondering, how you, felt when, he left and,
He didn't leave. He was traded for Chris Dunn. So let's frame it.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Yeah, I remember that now that you mentioned that.
I respect Russell Westbrook. He's an all-time great, but he has a chaotic play style. And I said this when he was on the Clippers, where you just don't know what he's going to do possession to possession. And that can be difficult to watch at times, but he's been very good the first two games in this series, you could say, overall for Denver.
Yeah, I kind of, was thinking about that, like during Dennis Rodman's days, he was a great rebounder and defender, but you never know when the bad Rodman would come out.
Yeah. I don't know if I go that far with Russ is different. Rodman, he kicked a cameraman. His antics, some of that stuff wasn't even basketball. With Russ, it's just he goes so hard and so fast to the basket. It's out of control, and often he smokes a layup. I think Russ can be competitive to a fault, is how I would put it. He can be so overly competitive at times it works against him and his own team. But he's been good so far in this series, and he's hit some clutch three-pointers. He's going to have a lot of confidence, so they need him with how few guys they have coming off the bench right now. He's been vital for them. Anything else, Chris?
No, that's it for now.
All right, my friend.
Waiting to get to the game tomorrow. I took a couple of hours off so I could get down there early.
Let's go. It's going to be rowdy in the plaza, too. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Chris, we'll see you there.
Yeah. Okay, go Clippers.
Go Clippers. Back to David Adelman, if you want.
And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy. But no, we're excited to go down there and play.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game you guys played there? I think you're.
Oh, did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game you guys played there? Let's review what the Denver Nuggets shot. I think it was 10 for 19 in that game at Intuit Dome this season. By the way, they're having issues right now at the free throw line at home, at Ball Arena. It has been a problem for them. So they lost 126 to 122 at Intuit Dome earlier this season. I think that was the first game Aaron Gordon was back. Yeah, he came off the bench. They went, yes, 10 of 19 from the free throw line in that game.
It's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive, but it's a cool idea.
What? I don't know how long it will survive.
I think it's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah,
What?
I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that
I think it's different. That's pejorative. Different. He didn't say it was cool. He didn't say it was good or effective. He said different. That's a euphemism in this case. I don't like that.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game that you guys played there? I think it's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean?
This is smoke towards the wall. I don't know. I didn't hear that part of it earlier when I first was like, maybe he's just talking about the arena being loud with the music.
I've made a huge mistake.
I made one too, but I'm not paying for it like David Adelman will be.
I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So
I guess that was the point.
It's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive.
What? It's a cool thing. I don't know how long it will survive. The wall? This is absolute smoke.
It's absolutely crazy. But no, we're excited to go down there and play.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game that you guys played there? I think it's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive, but it's a cool idea.
Are you all going to survive the wall?
And the old school NBA used to be like that, the smaller venues, like when I was growing up. So I actually think it's kind of sweet. I wish we could shoot one-on-ones too. That'd be awesome.
And
So he's got a smirk on his face after one-on-ones, comparing it to college with the wall, comparing it to the free throw situation in college. What is this? This man pokes bears, apparently. He's Dylan Brooks. He's going for it here.
I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive, but it's a.
What's the NBA going to do about it? You think they didn't check regulations on something like this before they built it? They're a year in. It's fine. The wall stays. There's no dragon that's going to tear down the wall with the Night King and Game of Thrones. That's not happening. The wall remains. Like, what are we? I don't know if it will survive. Are you guys going to survive the wall?
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive, but it's a cool idea. And the old school NBA used to be like that, the smaller venues, like when I was growing up. So I actually think it's kind of sweet. I wish we could shoot one-on-ones too. That'd be awesome.
And I'm half kidding with this question, but you
What?
lost a game. Is that kind of on your record? Did that change anything in your approach? Or
No, because like I said, we could have lost game 1 too. This is about the process of figuring out how to win 4 games. It's not about records and all that stuff. It's just about the first to 4. I'm part of a group of people trying to win 4 games.
You know what?
That's all I think about.
Somebody's saying this
To
is
be like that, the smaller venues.
Someone's saying this is Bush League. This is some Bush League trolling. It reminds me of a certain scene from The Big Lebowski here.
Worthy officer.
What's this day of rest shit? What's this bullshit? I don't fucking care. It don't matter to Jesus. But you're not fooling me, man. You might fool the fucks in the league office, but you don't fool Jesus. It's Bush League Sega stuff. Laughable, man. I would have.
John Turro.
Oh, Jesus. It's Bush League Sega stuff. Laughable, man.
Oh, God. Is that what this is?
It's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive, but it's a cool idea. And the old school NBA used to be like that, the smaller venues, like when I was growing up. So I actually think it's kind of sweet. I wish we could shoot one-on-ones too. That'd be awesome.
That's backhanded.
Laughable, man.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. This reminds me of another movie also. Little movie called Tombstone. I'm not saying they're going to put this quote from David Adelman on his tombstone or anything, but it reminds me of a certain famous line from Kurt Russell's Wyatt Earp.
All right, Clinton. You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it.
You called down Clipper Nation? Well, now you got it. Be careful what you wish for. All right, David Adelman.
All right, Clinton. You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it.
Keep it respectful, but this cannot stand. This aggression cannot stand. We must be the loudest arena in sports tomorrow night. Period. We are being challenged and tested by David Adelman. It's on now.
And I'm half kidding with this question, but you finally lost a game. Yeah. Is that kind of on your record? Did that change anything in your approach or anything at all?
No, because like I said, we could have lost game 1 too. This is about the process of figuring out how to win 4 games. It's not about records and all that stuff. It's just about the first to 4. I'm part of a group of people trying to win 4 games. That's all I think about.
In the event Mike isn't able to go or is limited at all, what are some things Peyton can do to kind of help, fill the void or make his minutes successful?
Yeah, I mean, he can provide defensive, versatility. It allows us to hide other people that are important to us offensively. It allows us to do more things out of timeouts, hitting people, cross-matching, all those kind of things. He has the ability to do that. I thought he had some good possessions on Kawhi. The one shot he made on Peyton was a really tough shot. A lot of his shots were. But no, Peyton provides that. And you know what? A lot of our guys provide different things. Russ provides a free safety. I thought Jalen was very steady. I probably could have put him back in the second half, a guy that can make a shot. So we can go a lot of different ways. We know that, and everybody's just got to be ready to go.
If you could see one concert in Intuit, what are we going with?
Oh, man. Let me think about that. I'll get back to it.
If you could see one concert at Intuit, what are we going with? He said, oh, man, I'll get back to you on that. I still got to see my Deftones, even though they might be a little bit washed. What would you guys go with if you could see one concert at Intuit? I got to hear this again, though.
Loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy. But no, we're excited to go down there and play.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game that you guys played there? I think it's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's
different. What? Different? Now, maybe he's just trying to say we're not intimidated by the wall. Okay. If you really, this is it. I respect David Adelman. I'll respect him more if he chooses to shoot free throws against the wall in the second half of this ball game. We dare you. We dare you. The road team gets to choose which side they start going against. Therefore, they know which side they're going to end going against. And only 3 or 4 teams, and I think some of them did it accidentally, ended up going up against the wall in the fourth quarter, in the second half. If it's just different, by all means, take on the wall in the biggest moments. See what happens.
Around where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy. But no, we're excited to go down there and play.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game that you guys played there? I think It's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive.
I don't know how long it will survive. They're asking for it.
All right, Clinton. You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it. You see that? It says United States Marshal.
What? Please don't kill me. Please.
Take a good look at him, Mike, because that's how you're going to end up. The Cowboys are finished. You understand me? I see a red sash. I kill a man wearing it. So run, you cur. Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming. You tell
the wall is coming.
Tell all the other curs the law's coming.
The wall's coming.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me. You hear? Hell's coming with me.
Come on, Wall. Come on. Don't let me down now.
I'm coming. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me. You hear? Hell's coming with me.
877-520-1150. Mystery caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Julio, and I'm calling from Baldwin Park. This is the second time I called. I called like a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for taking my call, Adam.
Hi, Julio. I remember you. What's going on? How you feeling about this situation with David Adelman seeming to take a shot? I don't even think you can say seemingly taking a shot, or it's inferred, or we're reading too much into it, or there's subtext. When he said, it's different, the Wall talking about it's like, come on, man. He's not giving him any credit.
So let me say this. I don't think too much about Adelman himself. It makes me think more about how far we've come as fans, as a team, everything we've done. Detroit just broke a record of, I don't know how many seasons they didn't go to the playoffs. Do you remember that?
The Pistons, they probably hadn't been since Blake Griffin's second year or first year with them. That's my guess.
Well, it made me think about the times when, I've been watching the Clippers since like 93, 94, but anybody who's just new to this, welcome. We need to grow the nation. But it just made me remember like how long we were bad. And now I can't remember the last time that we had a bad season. Like I actually had to go into the stats, into the website and look.
14 straight winning seasons, Julio.
It's incredible, So even the season that we didn't make the playoffs, we had a winning season. This was like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
It's been 14, Julio, 14 straight winning seasons.
Oh, man. Well, they just make me proud to be a Clipper fan. So this, it's Thursday. I got my ticket. I'm glad I'm going to be there. It's amazing. When I go there, it actually feels like a home court advantage. It wasn't like going to the Staples. I thought it kind of sucked over there. This feels like you're in a place that's made for the Clippers. Oh, so that makes me think about something. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. I used to hate the fact that whenever a team won a championship, the first person that lifted the trophy was the owner. Because I thought you didn't play, and the people are not rooting for the owners; they're rooting for the players. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I've changed on that ever since Steve Ballmer has taken over this team.
Ownership is the greatest advantage in sports, and the Clippers have one of, if not the best. I think he's the best, but I may be biased.
Maybe, but what I'm saying is, when I see everything Steve Ballmer has done, I do think he totally deserves to raise that trophy, especially after being owned by Donald Sterling, this team. And what I like about him is he doesn't run this as a business. Obviously it's a business. You have to make business decisions. But he prioritizes the fanhood part of it. Like every decision he makes is about feeling good about this team And of course, he takes the business part into consideration. Not everybody does that, and Clipper Nation knew that for a very, very long time. So big shout out to Steve Ballmer.
I'm with you, Julio. I think all of Clipper Nation is with you. They went from the worst owner in sports to the best owner in sports. It's made all the difference in the world. And you can say, and I do all the time, it's almost like an expansion team since he took over in 2014. It just feels different in such a dramatic way.
Absolutely. So anyways, so excited about Thursday. I think when you're talking about Adelman and what's saying about the wall and all this stuff, all that makes me think about is look at how far we've come, look at how much we've grown, the fact that people are talking about this so much. When I think about some of the best playoff series that the NBA has seen, I think about this series is going to go down in the books. And I think about Spurs Clippers, back 2015, I think it was, 14. I don't remember, but this is every NBA fan right now should be grateful that the Clippers are where they are and how good they are, because we're giving some exciting basketball for people to watch.
Yeah, I think the league was rejoicing watching Kawhi Leonard the other night go 15 of 19. Appreciate the phone call, Julio. I do want to hear now from practice audio at Intuit Dome a little while earlier. Here was Coach Luce today.
Is everybody healthy after practice?
Yes.
Everybody's healthy.
Did you have any conversation with Noah during the course of the 2 games or the PG's 1 and 2? Yes, sir.
Oh, he did have a conversation with Norm.
Yeah, keep being aggressive, keep being who you are. And like I said, at the end of the game, he made 3 big shots for us, and so he puts in too much work, to get discouraged. And so, we need him to be aggressive.
Keep being aggressive, keep being who you are. It paid off in the fourth.
I go over 5 in the first 5 shots to make for 40 in the game. That's sure you have my she's trusting in his work and he's got belief in him. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, he's got to trust in his work. He works too hard. Sometimes I think too much, So, loved me at the end of the game. Saw we did good last year at the end of the game. And so this wasn't any different. So I'm glad he was able to make those 3 shots in the fourth quarter. And hopefully they get him going throughout the course of the series.
That's exactly what the hope is. Oh, by the way, Ma Murray will be joining us shortly.
At that point, does it feel like a Norm game is potentially coming in this
series?
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, because a lot of those shots that he missed are shots that, like you mentioned, he's made throughout the course of the year.
Yes, sir.
And then he mentioned as well,
Coach Lou said it does feel like a Norm game's coming.
Just the confidence that Kawhi and James have in him and how much that has helped. How have you seen that play out? Just the 2 stars of this team trusting their teammates, particularly Norm.
Yeah, just being encouraged and telling them to keep shooting, keep being aggressive. And you saw that 3 that he made. Like Kawhi had the ball and swung it right back to Norm to get a wide open shot. And so we all have trust and belief in him. And he has belief in himself as well. And so he'll be a lot better.
Off of that, Bogey hasn't hit a shot yet in the series. Like, what do you feel like Denver is doing to make him maybe uncomfortable, and what do you feel like can unlock him going into the home portion of the series?
Same thing. I think he'll be okay. I think he got some good shots. One shot he rushed, trying to draw the foul. But other than that, I thought he got some good shots, and he'll be okay as well.
Bogey will be okay as well. It's not like Bogey hasn't been in huge games. He's been in much bigger games. He torched Team USA in the Olympics for Serbia last year. Bogey's built for this. I don't know why he's been so off the first 2 games of this series, but I expect him to snap out of it.
This feels like the most evenly matched series. Just what have you enjoyed about kind of the chess game and preparing for the matchups?
I haven't enjoyed it at all. Not against Joker. We just put you some tough positions. Like I said, when you have a 7-foot center that can come off pin downs, shoot the 3, post smaller guys or bigger guys, put the ball on the floor, and his passing ability, it just makes it tough for you to do the same thing and try to take him out of the game because he can kill you in so many ways. And so just try to show him different coverages, different looks, try to keep them all balanced as best we can, and then just go from there.
Because of how close the series is, how much does that raise the attention to detail, the urgency of every little thing impacting what could come in the end of the game.
Yeah, that's basically our film session today. You know, coming up, and we had 5 plays out of timeouts. We didn't execute the right way. It was in the wrong positions. So you can't waste possessions in the playoffs. And then, rebound the basketball. We talked about it all year. They were 15 offensive rebounds. I think they beat us 50-32 on the glass. And so we got to be better just, understanding what we're doing. We got to hit bodies. We got to secure the rebound. When we do that, we can play with more pace and get out in transition.
The amount of rebounds they've been giving up is very concerning to me. That has to be cleaned up in game 3. They're not winning this series if they keep rebounding like this, guys. They're lucky to be 1-1 with the way they've been rebounding.
Nicola mentioned that as far as like the defense you guys are throwing at him, it's a lot of read and react because you guys are throwing so many different coverages. How is the dynamic defensively working in different things you throw at him throughout a game?
How's it working?
How's the dynamic working between like we need you to do this or that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we understand how they're trying to attack us now, what they're doing offensively, and so we did a good job of countering that. I think when we did counter, we got hurt with the offensive rebound because we were in scramble mode. It wasn't like standing home and keep a body on board and keep a body on quarter. We were blitzing, and so now you're in scramble mode, so now you got to be more physical. Like when you get to the bat, you got to really hit guys and drive them out. And so we didn't do a good job of that. I thought our initial defense was really good, but when the shot went up, we got to be better.
Yeah, part of it is it's not just your typical missed rebounds. It's because what he said there, they're scrambling, they're doubling, they're triple teaming at times. And so it's taking guys away from the hoop. The guys who are there aren't necessarily the best rebounders at times, and they're being outmanned on the boards where they got 2 versus 3 or 2 versus 4. But there have been a couple also where they have been caught sleeping at times.
It seemed like game 2 compared to game 1, Denver was more willing to just switch and play Kawhi one-on-one defensively. Did that surprise you a little bit compared to game 1 that they didn't try to blitz or fire at him as much as they did?
Well, we put him in different positions. I think game 1 we saw how they try to play. And then game 2, we did a better job of just trying to keep Kawhi in the middle of the floor, in the middle third, so he can attack from there. It's kind of hard to double team in that position. But then they did start firing late in the game, so we'll see.
Yeah, they didn't double, or they weren't able to double Kawhi as much in game 2.
What makes Kawhi so deadly in isolation?
Because he's a guy who can get to a spot. He's big enough to get to a spot. Even if the double team's coming, he can get to a spot quick enough we can shoot before the double team arrives. And then, like I said, if you switch and put smaller guys on, we can take advantage of that as well. And so, you got to see what they're going to do in game 3, and we'll be ready for it.
I know there's things that you think you can live with defensively, but I know there's things defensively you can live with. But Russ has made 5 threes. I think shot 5 of 12. A lot of them from the corners. How are you kind of looking at his 3-point shooting so far in this series?
I mean, he shot 3-point shot really good this year while being in Denver. I think he's shooting 43 from the corners, 53 uncontested from the corners, and then above the break he's shooting.
The way Coach Lue knows all the advanced stats. He's got an incredible mind.
All guys on, he can take advantage of that as well. And so, you got to see what they're going to do in game 3, and we'll be ready for it.
I know there's things that you think you can live with defensively, but I know there's things defensively you can live with. But Russ has made 5 threes. I think shot 5 of 12. A lot of them from the corners.
I love this question from Tomer about Russ shooting those threes and knocking him down the corners, because I'm like, he's good at shooting threes in the corners. Why give those up?
How are you kind of looking at his 3-point shooting so far in this series?
I mean, he shot 3-point shot really good this year while being in Denver. I think he's shooting 43 from the corners, 53 uncontested from the corners, and then
53% on uncontested threes from the corners. You can't leave that.
Above the break he's shooting 26%. So we got
above the break he's shooting 26%. He knew all the numbers there. What do the numbers say?
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
Coach Lue had him.
Understand that, we want to be active, we want to help, but we just can't leave Russ in the corner. He's proven he can make those shots, but we do want to be help-oriented, not just him, just everybody, and then get back out, get a contest, but we just can't leave him and give him their shots.
Yeah, give him the above-the-break threes, fine, but not the corner threes.
Norm said that just because of the talent involved in this series, it doesn't feel like a first-round series.
It doesn't.
What does it feel like here?
Western Conference Finals.
I said coming into this series, this had vibes of Clippers San Antonio 2015 first round. Clippers San Antonio 2015 first round with the amount of talent on both teams. It's a Western Conference Finals type of feel. Coach Lue says the same.
Coach, I wanted to ask about Chris Dunn. Obviously, James and Zoo and Kawhi get all the recognition, but it seems like Chris Dunn has been equally as important for you guys, especially defensively. He's been relentless. You look at that 50-50 ball he had with Michael Porter Jr. in the middle of the floor. Get it to Norm Powell for that puts you guys ahead. Can you talk about what Chris Dunn has been to you guys in his first 2 games?
No, not just these 2 games, all season long. All season long, just who he is as a person, how he plays, how he approaches every single game. And we take on that personality. And when we do it every night, take on that personality, we're a tough team to beat. And so he's the head of the snake when it comes to starting the game with a defensive mindset, playing hard, competing defensively. And we need that every single night. So that's what he brings for us.
Now, when you guys pick up full court, does that help your defense? Is it just going out there offense?
It helps a lot. I think it allows them to get into their triggers, later in the clock, which takes away Joker's decision making, being able to pass the ball 3 or 4 times and make a play. It also wears them down when they're playing so many minutes, playing heavy minutes. I thought when Ben came in the game and picked up Joker full court and kind of denied him and got into him, I thought it wore him down. And the DJ picked up Jamal, and then Nico was up picking up the floor against him. So I think as the series goes along, and the more minutes they're playing, the more we can be, physical, picking up full court and trying to run them down and be good for us.
Ben Simmons has been solid this series, guys. It's limited minutes. You look at the box score. Oh, what are you talking about, Adam? Look at the freaking tape. I held back.
Game 1, you said you didn't like the pace of that game. What did you think of the pace of game 2?
I didn't like it.
You still weren't getting into stuff as quickly as
No, we can get better.
So when
They can still get into their stuff faster.
look at last one, Nicola, and obviously I think officiating is a big part of this series with how everyone likes to draw fouls, but there's been a lot of embellishing contact. Like, how are you approaching that with like the officials? Like, do you have conversations about that? Are there conversations with the players about that? Like, how do you approach those type of things?
The officials are doing a great job. Have a good day.
Coach Lou's not going to be baited about the Nico flopping question from Tomer.
Like the officials, like, do you have conversations about that? Are there conversations with the players about that? Like, how do you approach those type of things?
The officials are doing a great job. Have a good day. But what?
No, but seriously, like, how do you approach that when it's?
Man, we just got to play through it. We just got to play through it. He's the MVP. He's the MVP for a reason. He's going to get certain calls, and we just got to play through it. We got to play through everything. So, he's been doing it. He's a good player. He's good at doing it. And so, all we can do is just play through it.
Thanks, Coach.
That's the right approach. Don't give them any bulletin board material, or don't be so critical of the refs that now, maybe because of human nature, they're like, oh, you're talking all that junk about us, you're going to get even less calls, like there is, Phil Jackson used to tweak the referees all the time, and it worked in his favor a lot. Obviously, I'm from Sacramento. I've seen Game 6 and the Lakers getting 27 free throws in the fourth quarter. I don't want to see these mind games. Like, if there's something egregious at the end of the game and, heat of the moment, like post game, you're talking about the officials, that's one thing. But right now, day off, I'm not falling for that trap of making this about the officials right now, this early in the season, or this early in the series, I should say. Derek Jones Jr. here.
What do you feel like has been the key to you contributing to the team defensively in this series specifically?
Just picking up the ball, being aggressive, not trying to let the game come to me defensively, making my mark on the game whenever I can, just being as disruptive as I can, trying to come speed up and force turnovers.
Have you and Chris kind of had a dialogue about what each other are doing? Like, are y'all giving each other feedback and trying to support each other that way?
It's something we've been doing all year long. Even when I was starting, he was coming off the bench, or I'm coming off the bench, he's starting. It's the same way.
I love that. These guys have sacrificed. They do not care. Come off the bench, start. They root for each other, DJ and KD. It's just awesome having these two as Clippers.
Even when I was starting, he was coming off the bench, or I'm coming off the bench, he's starting. It's the same way. We make sure that we come in the game and there's no laps in between the forwards. So we both try to pick up full court, do whatever we can, hound the ball, and get some extra plays for our team.
Nicola mentioned that the defense that you guys are throwing at it is a lot of read and react. You guys are mixing it up so often. How is that dynamic in the middle of a game? Like, how does that kind of work, where you try to bait him into certain things, but he's also reacting based off like where guys might be? Yeah. Sound like how is that dynamic defensively?
For us, we know what we're going defensively. We just trying to make him pick up the ball early and force him to pass the ball. And obviously throwing bodies at him and keeping bodies in front of him, making sure that he don't have a straight line drive to the rim.
I like that. Make Nico pick up his dribble is huge.
Mostly just trying to keep people in front of him and contest all the shots.
How do you think picking those guys up full court affects their offense and helps the defense out?
They get into their offense later in the clock. It's less time that we have to guard, but that's not really the thing. But it's more so just they're getting sped up on the half court trying to get the ball up the floor, and obviously the pressure of me and KD put on the ball, pumping and putting all the contact on the guards, trying to bring the ball up the floor, kind of tires them down a little bit. And just slow down their offense and get them a little bit tired.
Picking guys up full court, it has that like compounding effect as the game goes on. And I'm glad they're doing some of it.
Anything through these first two games surprised you, whether it's on their end or anything that they're doing?
Anything they're doing surprises you?
Nah, it's playoff basketball.
Does this feel like a first round series? Because Norm said it's two top teams, and he said it feels like a later in the playoff type series. Is that how you feel?
I mean, for me, playoff basketball is playoff basketball. It's going to be how it is. You gotta go out there and be as physical as you can. I mean, no matter if it's first round, second round, championship, you got to go out there and give it everything you have. If you don't, you're going home.
Of course, nothing is, fully figured out until the very end. But going into Game 3, what do you feel like you have figured out about this series, whether it's on your side or theirs?
For us, we just gotta go out there and play as hard as we can. On the defensive end, that's where we hang our hat. We gotta make sure that we cause a lot of turnovers and be disruptive on the defensive end. And just get some easier plays for us on a fast break because we have a whole lot of athletes on this team and we all love to run.
Chris obviously has a tough matchup in Jamal. What's it like to watch him? And what have you been able to do defensively this series?
He's been doing amazing. On ball, just picking up the ball, hounding him, getting his steals whenever he can, flying around, just being that disruptor that he is. I mean, he is who he is. We know that he was like this from day one, so that's what we've been waiting for.
How does the series change for you as a player when the venue changes? Going from playing these road games now coming home.
It don't change for me. Game is a game. I go in there with the same mindset every night. I give it 110% every night. Whatever I have in my body, I leave it out on the floor. I don't change my mindset game to game. I go out there and have the same mindset every night.
When you approach this series, like in the first two games, I think Norman Bogey had shot like 4 of 14 from 3. So but the looks have been there. Like, does that give you confidence that you got a couple more of those shots to go? Like, this series will go a lot more your way. Like, you guys could easily be up 2-0 as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say it like that. It's basketball. You can't harp on the misses and makeshift's. It is what it is. I mean, you got to take the shots that you give, but trying to dwell on if you could have made the shots or if you could have done this or that. We don't live like that. We didn't make the shots, so we lost game 1. And we're making sure that we do everything that we can do to make sure we win these games.
All right, well, there was Derek Jones Jr. Law Murray's coming up in about 5 minutes. We're going to hear from Norman Powell first, but Law had this. Derek Jones Jr. has spent more than 2.5 times as many possessions guarding Jamal Murray as anyone else. 32 possessions he's had on Jamal Murray and just 12 against Russell Westbrook. I guess the next guy he's guarded the most. So he has guarded Jamal a ton in this series. And then Chris Dunn, obviously, coming in late in fourth quarter, has been guarding him as well.
Ever been picked up by an
There's Norman Powell.
opponent before, regardless of situation?
No, that don't matter. Next question.
I mean, how are you feeling about this?
Wait, I need to hear this.
Been picked up by an opponent.
Make sure we win these games.
Have you ever been picked up by an opponent before, regardless of situation?
Oh, have you ever been picked up by an opponent before, regardless of the situation? He's asking him, Law Murray, about the Jamal Murray incident with Norman Powell.
No, that don't matter. Next question.
It came the next question.
I mean, how are you feeling about just how you've been able to progress through this series, just in general, like whether your shot's falling or not, like whatever the game is calling for. Especially, it seemed like in game 2, you did all the things necessary to help the team win the game.
Yeah, I mean, around this time, it's all about winning, impacting winning, making winning plays, making winning efforts. Obviously, for me, buckets aren't coming as they have been all year. But it's just about staying confident, riding the waves of the ups and downs of it, trusting my work, and just continue to take the shots that are open. Every shot that I've taken in this series have been shots I've made all year. Just not going in, but I have unwavering confidence in myself. My teammates, the coaching staff does throughout the course of the first 2 games. They've kept telling me to be aggressive and look for my spots, look for my shots. And, late in the game, in game 2, I was able to convert some of those shots that late in the game when we needed them. And that's what matters most. It's just continuing to believe in myself and find ways to be effective.
Yeah, it's with a guy like Norm, sometimes I think he gets in his own head because he's so hard on himself. Because he's such a perfectionist, he wants everything to go. And sometimes that can work against you.
Your teammates, how big has that been? Because Kawhi and James both, after the game, said that they have the utmost confidence in you to take those big shots that you made down the stretch of the fourth quarter. I mean, how helpful is it knowing that the 2 stars of the team trust you to make those plays?
Really helpful. It just shows that they trust the work. They trust in my abilities as a player, as a teammate. Like I said, around this time, you need that. You need the confidence in your 2-star players. You need the confidence in the support, the cast, and the role players. To go out there and execute and win. It's a team game. Those guys are going to do what they have to do to put us in position, but it's everybody stepping up and making plays throughout the course of a series, under the course of a 48-minute game that's going to dig out wins. It's not just going to be one guy. But everybody around here knows the amount I put into this game each and every day. Whether it's a good game, bad game, I'm in here the next day putting in the work, getting better, watching film, and seeing how I can be the best version of myself for this team. So it means a lot.
You've obviously come a long way since 2019, but how much does that experience help in moments like this, knowing that you've been through it, you're a champion, you have that experience?
Yeah, I mean, experience is everything. I know the ups and downs of it. I know what series looks like. I know what media looks like when it comes to the playoffs. Losing one game, not playing well, or losing 2 games and not playing well, and feeling like you can be better. But it's all blocking that out and coming in here and focusing on how we can improve individually and as a team in this time of the year. Everybody's going to be saying something, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is the guys that's stepping on this floor with you and go out there and compete. Every game's going to be different. Just because you beat a team by a lot, you see the Laker game. Timberwolves come out and beat them by 20 plus, and they come back and they lose by 9. Every game is different. You don't hang your head based off one game. You don't get too happy off one game. You got to ride the wave until you win the 4 games to complete the series. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what this team is focused on.
All right, Norm. I like that mindset, man.
You guys are obviously very routine oriented. This series is a little weird with a 1 p.m. start, 2 night starts, and a 3 p.m. start. Like, does not having a shoot around or anything like, does that kind of affect how you approach a game? Maybe you have to get going a little early. Like, how does that kind of change the early start time?
I mean, it just changes if I'm going to be able to get on the court before a game or not. But other than that, everything remains the same. I'm not really focused on when the game starts. It's just being ready for tip-off, and I don't think anybody's worried about when the game is. You give us the time, and we're going to be ready to go out there and play and compete. But for me, my routine is just not being able to get on the floor in the morning before games when it's an early start game. I'll probably get extra work in the night before or the day before, but that's the only really difference between my routine.
What's the key to you hitting that interior pass when you drive, touch the paint, and you got to find a way to get the ball to you somehow?
I was just reading the weak side. If Jokic or whoever that low man is going to step up when I'm penetrating the paint, relocating and seeing where that crackdown guy is coming for to take away that interior pass. If he's not there, then it's a pass to Zoo. If he's there, it's a kick out to the corner. But my focus is trying to get into the paint and create plays.
He made a great pass to Visa Zubac, that wraparound pass underneath for the and one. Zoo missed the free throw, but it was a big play in the fourth quarter. Lob Murray coming up in 1 minute, y'all.
Really helped you out in any ways to make sure that pass gets converted?
Yeah, we've been talking. I tell him, when I get to the paint and they step up, just be worried about the guy coming down. And take away that interior pass and making sure he seals them off. It's been a back and forth dialogue and making sure we get those plays completed. And we're able to do that for an and one playing game. But we've been talking about that play all year long because of how much I get into the paint and put pressure on the rim.
Has anything in this series through 2 games surprised you at all? Whether it's what they've done, how they've reacted to things, anything like that?
No, I don't think anything's surprising. I think, it's 2 top teams, 2 talented teams battling it out. Adjustments are going to be made We try to, change things up offensively and how we were doing in game one. Game two, they try to change up how they're doing things defensively, with how we attacked them in game one. So it's just reading the game. It's a chess game out there, thinking strategies, thinking how you can manipulate the offense and defense. I think this is probably the best basketball series in terms of how the game is played, the guys that are on there, and the efficiency of basketball.
You mentioned this best basketball series. Does this feel like a first round series to you because of that?
No, it honestly feels a little deeper in the playoffs. Just like I said, two top teams battling it out, and with the talent and the star level that you have on the floor, it definitely has more intensity to it in previous round one series that I've played in the past. It feels like it could be a good matchup for like a Western Conference Finals type series.
There was Norman Powell pregame. One of the voices you heard there speaking with Norman Powell, the man who asks all the tough questions. He is La Murray of The Athletic, joining us here on Clippers Talk as we're about an hour and 40 minutes in. And now the show's about to get a heck of a lot better. La, how you been?
I think I spent an hour and 40 minutes just getting home, so.
Well, I
ain't been home in a minute, so yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping on as soon as you get home. I don't mean to blow you up like this, but it's the playoffs. We need you, especially with what we heard. You asked the right question, of course, to start with Norman Powell about the incident with him and Jamal Murray. He didn't want to talk about it, but there was something fiery there. Jamal Murray said post-game, it's just competition. It seems like there's no bad blood or anything like that. But early in a series, seeing both teams already sick of each other, I love it. I'm here for it. This is what it's about. They're competing.
I don't even know if it's at that level yet, to be really honest. Like I was watching that whole play when it was happening because the seats that I get at Ball Arena are very similar to the ones I get at Intuit Dome. I'm off to the corner and on the concourse level. I can see everything kind of develop. So Jamal was pretty agitated by the time he got to Norm because Norm had kind of, he needed to separate himself from Jamal off the ball, and Ball Arena reacted like they were very animated about that already. So Jamal is now, it almost looked like an Iverson cut. Like, Jamal's chasing Norm and the ball winds up going the other way. So
it
Norm
looked like
ball.
MJ in '98 on that, or getting pushed by Reggie Miller coming around on that curl screen.
Yeah. That's what it. That's what it was. Like, these teams are going to be physical with Norman Powell. They know that the book on Norm is, once he gets the ball, if you're beat, whether that's for a spot up three or a drive, like you're beat. Like Norm is a player that you kind of want him to dribble more often, and the Nuggets want to make his catches tough. They want to keep him in front of them and not lose track of where he is. That's Jamal is most effective. Like Jamal's a big guard. Like Jamal's not like one of these small point guards out here. Jamal is listed as one of the bigger point guards in the NBA. And when Jamal is engaged defensively, he's quite effective because he's a bigger guy. Like Jamal actually might be bigger than Norm, Jamal gets there and he talks a lot. Jamal probably talks more than any other player on as far as Denver starters go, and
he talked to Kawhi, it looked like, after that steal in game one where he knocked it out of bounds.
Yeah, Jamal has plenty to say at all times. And if Jamal's not talking, I think that Denver needs to, get him to talk because that's when he's at his best. Like Jamal is a playoff riser. He's a guy who meets the moment. Well, when he met Norm on the catch point, yeah, it was a foul on Jamal. Jamal picks him up. And I think, that fired up Jamal. Jamal ended up hitting a huge three, but it fired up Norm too. I think that tapped Norm in. And again, Norm is a winning player to me. Norm might have traits that might seem like it gets people to wonder if the Clippers are at their best when he's on the floor in the role that he's in now compared to the role he was in before Kawhi got going. But I was so impressed by Norm. And even today, it's clear that he's not going to give that any extra attention. He's on to the next play, the next game, the next part of this series, which is at home, not as adversaries on the road in Denver. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Norm puts a full game together.
Norm strikes me as a guy that sometimes puts too much pressure on himself to be perfect out there. Do you
totally
see that as well?
He does. I think the coaching staff does. He's an incredibly intense person. He's a great dude. He's one of my favorite people to talk to on and off the record. He's a joyous person. I feel like he fights for that. But he's incredibly intense. He works hard. He's had to, him and Fred VanVleet up there in Toronto, Fred had bet on yourself and that's where UTG came from Norm. Like, he's always been about the grind. He was a guy who spent extra years at UCLA. He was a guy who was a second-round pick. He had to get it out of the mud in the G League, playing for a team that was always good from the moment he got to the Raptors. That stuff doesn't just leave you just because you had some success, you scored some points, and you made some money. So it's the same thing here. Norm has always put expectations higher for himself than most reasonable people would put on him. Like, Norm was coming off the bench saying, I don't just want to start, I want to be an all-star. He said he didn't say that just this year. He said that 2 years ago. And people were like, all right, buddy, you're playing with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and so there's no starting spots. There's no pathway for you to be an all-star. But Norm knew more than anyone else knew about what he was capable of. And so I think we should just believe him if he says that if he's locked in and he understands what he needs to do to help this team wins, he's probably going to figure it out.
Do you think that fourth quarter he had in game 2 gets him going now back at Intuit Dome? And how does Bogey shake off whatever funk he's been in?
Yeah, I'm more worried about Bogey than Norm. I thought that fourth quarter for Norm was huge. I'm not really one to say one thing's going to translate to the next as far as, Norm hit a fast break 3 in the first half of game 2, and then he went back to not making shots in the third quarter. So, you never really know. But I think what's most important is he has belief in himself. His teammates have belief in him, and his head coach has belief in him. I think that's all you kind of need. Everything else is secondary. And so Bogey is the one who he hasn't had a shred of success offensively in this series. But he had a huge play in game 2 as well, stealing the ball from Russell Westbrook in the backcourt. And instead of forcing an attempt himself, shoveling it over to Derrick Jones Jr. for an easy bucket. That's the kind of thing that it makes two players happy, right?
Yeah,
It energizes the bench. And it was a critical play. Like, everything in that fourth quarter mattered, So both of those guys need to figure it out at home. It's not just about making shots. It's about good process offensively, creating advantages that helps your team. And I asked the question. T. Lou said he feels like there's, there will be opportunities for those guys to be better. And it's up to those guys to be better. You need it because you're not going to Kawhi. What Kawhi did in game 2 was all time.
Yeah.
You don't get that multiple times in a series. And if you do, you got to note that how rare and incredible that is. But if you're Denver, you lost a game by one possession with a team's top option refusing to miss. If you're gonna lose, you're gonna be like, we're not gonna lose that way. At least they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at Kawhi Leonard, and so other guys are gonna have to eat off of that if the Clippers are going to find another way to win.
Isla Murray of The Athletic. Read his latest. He's back. Kawhi Leonard authors an all-time response game against the Nuggets. To me, it was his second best playoff game in a Clippers uniform, only behind the 45 spot on the road in Game 6 against Dallas. Law, is there anything else that rivals what he did in a Clippers uniform?
That was my whole story, basically. Like, his ability to respond. Like, I think people maybe don't remember how Rajon Rondo just stared through Kawhi's soul at the end of Game 5 in 2021 against the Mavericks. and Rondo was never a relevant player for the Clippers again after that. Like when Kawhi is not good, he tends to figure out what he needs to do to be better. And if he's physically able to be better, he is. And I remember his game one back in 2023 in Phoenix. I mean, undermanned Clippers, right? Paul George was out. They were on the road. They were unimpressive most of that season. They kind of, I don't want to say they backed into the playoffs, but, you know, the vibes were pretty, probably at the lowest point they've ever been during Tyronn Lue's tenure. And that game one was so good. And he might have torn his meniscus in that game for all we know, you know. There's a moment where he planted awkwardly, and it's like, oh, if he got hurt, he probably got hurt at that moment. But after that game, I had a whole year of reporting on ACL recoveries, and I told my editors, without even thinking he was injured, I was just like, no, we're good now. They won game one. He played great. He outplayed Kevin Durant. Like, push play on this right now. And I mean, that might be it. Like, besides that, in the 45-point game, like, Kawhi's had some games, you know? Like, I remember the Utah series back in 2021. They lost those first two games, tough losses, and that was peak Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Those guys had 30 points apiece in game 3 and 4. It's the first time, I think maybe the only time, those guys had back-to-back 30-point games each as teammates. And, you know, obviously it's sad how that ended with him tearing the ACL. But I loved his response. It was a great game. And the Clippers needed all of it. And he capped it off with the biggest defensive play of the game, you know, stealing Nikola Jokic's 7th turnover. Didn't quite clinch the game per se, but if you are into win probabilities, I bet it spiked after that.
Do you get annoyed like I do when the media goes, oh, wow, Kawhi hasn't looked this good in so long? And it's like, guys, did you watch it all last season? He set the all-time efficiency record over 30 games. Like, he played 68 games. Some people are still acting like he hasn't played in years. It's like, I don't know,
because,
man.
No, it's not about Kawhi. It's about them. You know, people will tell on themselves when they say that. Like, they say that because they're used to not watching these games and wanting to be in the conversation about these games. And when you don't watch the games, but you're in the conversation, you're looking at TV, not that games on TV, but the BS talk on TV. You're looking at social media. You're looking at, you know, the trolls. My comments are a mess on The Athletic. You know, I try not to even look at a lot of comments. You know, if I know if I write a certain story and it's got a lot of comments, it's probably on some BS, right? Like, but every now and again, I'll still get people. I've been writing about Kawhi for 4 months now, and I'll still get people who be like, yeah, he only plays when he wants. Of course he does this. And, you know, as someone who tries to minimize my conflicts in real life and online, like, I don't get into it. You know, I don't really pay it that much attention. And I think that's what makes Kawhi great. Kawhi's not out here, you know, crying about what people are saying about him. You know, other players will. Other players will feel sorry for him. That's the mark of a great teammate, I guess. But I just feel like when it comes to Kawhi, people don't really watch and pay attention. And you know what? Kawhi can do something about that right now by playing great in these games that he's able to play in. That's what will get people to, pardon my language, but shut the fuck up about Kawhi. Like, you know, if you want to gripe about Kawhi Leonard and say he's not the player that he ought to be, then you can just say, well, he played 2 games as a decoy last year. He played 2 games the year before that and couldn't even come home. He missed the entire 2022 playoffs, the whole entire season. He got hurt in 2021. He blew a 3-1 lead in 2020. Okay, cool. What's he doing now? And what can he do now? That's what it's going to – I think that's what Kawhi's playing for. Kawhi's stamped, but, like, he can still play at this level, and he still has things he wants to do. And as his body allows, he's going to do those things. So that's where the focus should be on.
I know Kawhi doesn't care about this stuff. I'm not even sure you care about this stuff, but I've gotten inundated with so much of this over the last week with Clippers fans saying like Kawhi's better than Nikola Jokic because he plays both ways. And I'm like, guys, the last 5 years, Jokic has the hardware, 3 MVPs, a finals MVP. You got to just accept that he is the best player in the world right now. But Kawhi wins this series and he's spectacular. And maybe Jokic underperforms a little bit. Yeah, maybe you can make that argument after the series. But is it fair to say in your mind that right now Jokic is the best?
Yeah, I mean, because Jokic is just going to be a presence. I mean, now that's not to say Kawhi is not capable of outplaying him. He clearly is. That's what Game 2 is about. But you look at what Game 1 was about. You just got to keep that same energy. This series might come down to both of those players. Who's going to be the best player over the course of a game and over the course of the series? Kawhi affects a lot. But you know what? Kawhi's got James to help facilitate a lot. And you see what Jokic is out there doing. Jokic is the top facilitator. The ball is in his hands on every possession. He's got to do it in the paint. He's got to deal with Zubac on the other end. I mean, I have all the respect in the world for Nikola Jokic, even with Nikola trying to draw all the attention with the officials in this series.
It's gotten a little extreme there.
He's a lot like Luka, to be honest with you. I was thinking when the Timberwolves were going from Nikola Jokic in that 7-game war of a semifinals last year to meeting the meeting the Dallas Mavericks. That's just weird to just say that in the past tense now. Remember when Luka played for the Mavericks? That's crazy.
You remember, Nico? Do you remember?
Man, I mean, we thought that the move that Dallas would regret in the offseason was Derrick Jones Jr. leaving. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
yeah,
I was thinking, man, you go from Jokic to Luka, and I mean, if Luka was as reliable as Nikola Jokic was, then we say that Luka was the best player in basketball. You know what I'm saying? Nikola is always there for his team. He is won at the highest level. He has gotten his team through a postseason run. And that's what separates him and Luka. But when you think about the challenge of facing those guys in a playoff series or just, on a possession, that Luka is bringing the ball up, his passing. And the thing that separates Luka and Jokic is Luka can shoot that three from anywhere at any time. And he's looking for that, right? Nikola is looking to get his guys going. Nikola just, because of his position, because of his role, because of his body type, there's things that he's going to be positioned that he'll be at that, with Luka, it's like Luka is constantly on your ass. And in a lot of ways, Nikola is too. But the people that you put around Nikola is different than the people that you put around Luka. So Kawhi doesn't have that level of I'm consistently here all the time. But if he does have that in a series like this and it's successful, then the Clippers are going to be successful. It's just that simple.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Do you think they stopped soft switching so much? And Jamal Murray was on him early, and that was intentional, I think, from the Denver Nuggets. And Kawhi's 10 of 10 against him. Do you think they changed something up?
I mean, I think you talking about Denver?
Yeah. Does Denver make an adjustment on Kawhi?
Yeah, I just feel like we were discussing about Norm and Bogey. I think that the thing that you change up is you put pressure on Kawhi to make plays for his teammates. You basically crowd him, show him bodies, and are really aggressive about putting it on Kawhi to pass the ball a lot. I mean, I think that Game 1, Kawhi having 7 turnovers, 2 of them to Ben Simmons, who is like everybody else in the building, wondering why Kawhi's in the paint, leaving his feet, and then looking for a guy who you're surprised if he makes more than 1 basket in a game. Those are soft turnovers. I think if you're Denver, you would put it on Kawhi to get his teammates more involved and see how that works out for you. you are less likely probably to be beat by that than you are to be beat by Kawhi, who clearly is comfortable enough to get buckets. He was comfortable from a bucket standpoint. Even in game 1, he made 9 out of 15 field goals. That's a 60% conversion rate right there. Like, you want to bring that down, but you're better off with Kawhi not shooting the basketball than you are with Kawhi shooting it. So that's I just expect Denver to really put it on Kawhi's teammates to try and win the game that way. I think Kawhi's got 5 assists in this series. Like, Norm has more assists than Kawhi does, and that's how you're going to have to. That's the adjustment I would anticipate from Denver's defense.
How do the Clippers remedy the rebounding situation where they have gotten beaten up and really at the worst times late in games? If they lose game 2, it's also because of the rebounding stuff. I mean, I know everybody wants to say we could be up 2-0. Yes, so could they. There was a missed dunk by Aaron Gordon in game 2, but just how do they out-scrap them, or is it just a schematics problem because they have guys over doubling Jokic, so they don't have as many guys under the basket?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And when I asked T. Lue about how close this series was, he made it a point to point out the defensive rebounding. And I mean, the Clippers were statistically the best defensive rebounding team in the league. That's why Nikola Jokic is so hard, because Nikola is passing it. He's drawing double teams, whether he's in the post or not. He can shoot comfortably pretty much as soon as he's inside the three-point line. If he's at the three-point line, obviously, if he's open, he can make shots. So you got Zoo sometimes closing out, and if he's not under control, you're in trouble there. Nikola is hard to play against. He is incredibly difficult to play against. You can't match up with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so
he's an unsolvable problem.
Well, the problem that you have is, and the Clippers won the game because of what I brought up after game 1. It wasn't just about the Clippers' turnovers. Can they force turnovers? The Clippers cleaned up turnovers, especially after the first quarter, because they did not clean that up to begin the game, and they can't afford to put themselves in a hole like that. They were fortunate to get out of it in game 2. That's a James Harden thing. Every time James Harden gives up the ball, it gives Denver life. And James went most of the last 3 quarters without a single turnover. His only turnover gave the Nuggets life. He has a backcourt. He tries to advance it, and Nikola gets his hands up, and it winds up being, I believe, Michael Porter Jr. hit a game-tying 3 in the fourth quarter. James pointed that mistake out in postgame, saying, as whatever I might have thought about him being better at managing the game, he can still be better. And it's not like James had turnover issues in game 1. So when you come down to it, you need to do some gambling, and you need to steal some literally steal some possessions from the Nuggets. And the Nuggets are thinking, well, we got to be aggressive too, and we need to get on the offensive rebounds. Michael Porter Jr., the guy who got called out the most by anybody in Denver after game 1, I think he had 6 of those offensive rebounds that the Nuggets had. We all know what Russ is going to do to crash the glass. Christian Brown is a guy who hustles. He's going to be active. He's not worried, too worried. And that's why I think the Clippers also want to push the pace. They want to say, if we can rebound, then we can actually run, because we know that Denver is not going to be as good in their transition defense if they're coming back the other way. Aaron Gordon, he's another one. Aaron Gordon lives to box, to just, dominate the Clippers in the paint and on the glass. And so the Clippers have to be more physical, and it has to just be guys not named Ivica Zubac. Zoo is out on the elbow trying to deal with Jokic. If you're giving up a jump shot, if you're giving up a cut, whatever, the Clippers have some of the worst rim protection in the NBA outside of Zoo. Okay? Everyone just needs to participate. That's what it comes down to. Norman Powell has to participate. People want Derrick Jones Jr. and Nicholas Batum to play more. Those guys are not good rebounders, and they haven't been for years. Those guys are going to have to be better at being physical, putting a body on somebody, and securing possessions. When those guys do that, then the Clippers are going to have chances not just to, end possessions, but if you're up, you're expanding the lead. If you find yourself down, you give yourself a chance to come back. It can't just be steals. You do what you've been doing great all season, and that is ending possessions with rebounds and preventing second chance opportunities. If the Clippers do that as a team, their best players, their starters, the guys who come off the bench, if they do that as a team, they'll be okay.
Clippers taking on Denver in Game 3 at Intuit Dome tomorrow night. So, did you take this as a tweak, as a jab, as a needle from David Adelman earlier, talking about it's a high school-like environment and saying that they pump in noise? He didn't say crowd noise. He said they pump in sound. But then later on, they asked him about the wall, and he's like, well, it's certainly different. It just seemed like he had this little smirk on his face. I'm not sure if you want to upset Clipper Nation like that, though. How did you take it?
I mean, this is David Adelman's first postseason as a head coach. It's not his first as a coach in the NBA, and he grew up in this. You know, his dad is one of my favorite coaches of all time. And,
you know me, I'm from Sacktown, baby.
Yeah, like, I mean, I go all the way back to when Rick Adelman took the Blazers to back-to-back finals. You know, like, Rick Adelman has taken teams to spots that they have still not yet gotten back to, as you well know, as a Sacramento native. So my thing with David is, it's not like, you know, they're going to be cheering him as he enters the playing floor. You know, like, I don't really trip about who said what about the arena. I think it's on whoever is at that in that building to make the environment what it's going to be. Like, if you needed these comments from David Adelman to get fired up for this game, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you should have already been at that level anyway. If this helps you, cool. His team is not coming in there to sign a peace treaty. His team's coming in there to try to steal a game, just like the Clippers stole a game at Ball Arena. Like, you know, no one's coming in here quietly. This isn't a Trojan horse situation. So I don't really care what David Adelman has got to say about the Intuit Dome. I care to see if the Intuit Dome backs that up with all the things people have said about your team, and including Clipper fans themselves. Clipper fans have shitted on their team quite a bit over the last 12 months for one reason or another. This is your opportunity, whether it's on NBA TV, FanDuel TV, somebody's live stream. You know, I don't care what it is. Show up and act like, you know, you're going to bring some presence to that arena. And you know, that's all I'm going to say about that. Like, who cares what he said? If that arena is silent because your team is down by 10 after 12 minutes, then it's going to look like David Adelman is great for calling the arena out. Like, don't let it be like that. Keep that same energy from the start of the game, whether the team is down, whether the team loses or wins game 3, because they're going to need the same in game 4. Quick turnaround, afternoon, different kind of crowd. Like, shouldn't need the other coach to fire you up, but if that's what it takes, then show up and act like you know.
So, I believe you wrote about this recently. You definitely talked about it. You like Big Zoo for Defensive Player of the Year.
The votes are already in, so
I know it's settled.
Votes are already in.
We saw who's top 3, and he's not there. I get it, but I think he had a case to be top 3, and you're saying he should be top 3 there over being top 3 for most improved player. I also agree with that, but lay out your argument.
What if I told you that he should have been top 3 or maybe top 2 in both? You know what I'm saying?
Fine with me.
See, we at The Athletic, few of us who actually got votes. I'm a first time voter, you know, first time that they let me. So shout out to whoever controls that and sees that. You know, I cover this league enough to be able to get this privilege, and it is a privilege. So I'm really happy that I got to do this.
I know you and Tim Bontemps, I think, were the 2 guys who made it public that you voted for Ivica Zubac.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more people. I mean, like I said, we at The Athletic, we have a whole thing of who we had as our number 1 choices. But when you get these ballots, you know, it's your top 3, except for MVP, which is your top 5, you know. And, you know, there might have been a tweet going around from someone who doesn't even follow me, but still has my name in their mentions, and was talking about how I didn't have Zoo at the top of my MIP ballot. And it's like, well, I had someone else. I had Christian Brown because I thought that the improvement that Christian made was incredible. I've not seen that kind of improvement from a player, not just volume, but efficiency and effectiveness. And I thought he should be rewarded for it. But Zoo is number 2 on my ballot. So, like, is that going to be the case for everybody? I mean, some people voted for Cade Cunningham and Dyson Daniels, 2 guys who were lottery picks early in their careers. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have either of those guys on my ballot. So if you're going to criticize me for not having Zoo at the top of the ballot, then we can agree to disagree there. But he made my ballot. So I did think that Zoo was worthy of being most improved player, just not as worthy as the guy that I wound up having number 1. And then for defensive player of the year, he was my choice for that award. Like, and my thing is, I know the team that I am primarily assigned to. I'm not going to, for me, I want to put some respect on guys that I see on a daily basis, but I also cover the league. I'm not here to be a Clippers, surrogate vote. Like, I'm an NBA analyst, not merely a Clippers analyst. I watch all 30 teams, so I'm not going to be a homer or anything like that. And
indicative by the fact you voted for Christian Brown over him for most improved player. I mean, that shows that you're unbiased.
Yeah, like, I'm not here to be like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to cover the, somebody just win any kind of award? If that was the case, I'd have James Harden number 1 for MVP. Like, I don't believe that that's the case. You know what I mean? I do think James Harden was an all NBA performer this year. We'll see who agrees with me, but I generally don't really care who agrees with me. It's my vote. I'm not voting for y'all. I'm not voting for the other voters. I'm not voting for my outlet. It's me. I got to own my choices. And if my choices are validated by a guy winning an award, cool. But if they're not, then that's whatever. So I thought Zoo was the defensive player of the year this year. And it's not because he played for the Clippers. It's because the Clippers were the 3rd best defense in the NBA. And you look at Oklahoma City, and I think Lou Dort made my I'm not sure. Lou Dort didn't make my defense player of the year ballot, but he made my I had a bunch of Thunder players on my all defense ballot. Again, all this stuff is public. Well, will be public when it comes out. I'm looking at Zoo and like, why were the Clippers the 3rd best defense in the NBA? Because they were the best defensive rebounding team in the NBA. And look at what Zoo is doing, and look at who he's playing with. Right? He's the center. He's got to communicate everything that's going on. He was challenged to do more, and he was challenged to be the guy that ended these possessions. He was challenged at the beginning of the year to go for an award like this, and the Clippers were never better on the defensive end. Like, I've watched Zoo on the Clippers for 7 seasons, and they never performed like this from the beginning through the end of the year. Like, I looked at who would I vote for defensive player of the year for the Orlando Magic. They were the 2nd best team. And it's like, I didn't have a candidate for that. Like, great team defense, but I don't think they had a legitimate candidate for that award. And that's fine. It's a team game. And that's what Zoo and I talked about all year. It's like, look, it's a cliche, but you don't talk about yourself like that. It's weird seeing you on ESPN. I'm sure as hell not going to ask you questions about being on ESPN because, like, for example, Draymond was on ESPN and everything else. And Draymond didn't make my ballot for defensive player of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he made plenty of other people's ballots, and Draymond might win the award. He's a finalist, So for me, it's
Joban's got him.
So for me, it's like, did I think Zoo was worthy of 2 awards? I mean, sure. I mean, he made my ballot for 2 awards, but I picked him as my number 1 for defense player of the year. Now, if you're going to criticize me, that's cool, but like, put the full context behind my damn vote, and we can talk about it from there.
Who did you have 2nd and 3rd?
Shit, I don't even remember. I really don't.
I'd have to. Dort?
You talking about for defense player?
Yeah.
So I had Zoo number 1, Dyson number 3. I had Amen Thompson, another guy who's not a finalist, number 2. Okay. Houston, a top defense. they ask a men to guard everybody. And you know what? There were some games where men got lit up, and Ime Udoka had to call them soft because that's what they do down there in Houston. But I thought the men had an incredible year statistically, and when you watch who and he's guarding and what he's able to do. I think if Kawhi Leonard had a vote, I think he would have voted for Dyson. That had a lot
How
of
do you
weight.
kind of reconcile the Dyson vote? Because I've been saying, how impactful is he if their defense is 18th?
And that's why, and honestly, that's why he wasn't higher on my ballot for me, because, if Dyson didn't get the steal, Atlanta was cooked defensively. And that included Dyson. Like, I think Dyson's a really good player, a really good defender, but I've seen Dyson not win his matchups a lot. Like, I think Dyson's a very good defender. And obviously the steals, I love steals. It's why I love Chris Dunn. Like, Chris Dunn, honestly, if he was eligible, would have been on my ballot. He should have been eligible. He wasn't.
Are they going to change the parameters for all defensive team?
Who knows? Who knows? But I'll just say, I value perimeter defenders more than big defenders, but I also value big defenders more than dudes who kind of hide. And Zoo doesn't really hide. We did not go look at what they said about Rudy Gobert defending Luka and what they say about Zoo defending Luka. Zoo's had his wins and losses. Luka is hard to defend, period. I hate what we do to bigs. We be like, oh, look, the big can't guard one of the best ISO scorers in the league. Bro, who can? You know what I'm saying?
People want to bring up Hakeem all the time. It's like, well, he didn't have to guard guys like this. It's different now.
I can't wait till Wemby gets to the playoffs. I'm sad that he's got to get healthy, and hopefully he's able to get to be the player that he's ascending to be. But watch, Wemby gonna get to the playoffs, and he's gonna get absolutely wrecked by some guard. Look, Joel Embiid gave Wemby 70 or portions of a 70 piece, before Joel's knee went to smithereens. We just do this. We just talk shit about these guys who are, whether they're succeeding or not, by the way. Rudy be winning sometimes out there.
He was good last night against Luka. He was really good last night against Luka.
It's like Rudy's going to look awkward. He's a 7'3", 30-some-year-old dude trying to defend one of the best ISO players in basketball. It's just that it's funny because it's Rudy, and I'm not going to cape for Rudy Gobert on here. Rudy does plenty to make himself a target, but I'm just going back to Zoo. Zoo isn't just asked to drop and that's it. It's not an automatic, what's happening with Zoo. If that was the case, the Clippers wouldn't have been as effective defensively as they were. It was a whole participatory team thing, but who's the guy that holds that shit together? That was Ivica Zubac. You saw what happened when Zoo left the floor during the regular season. They were like, nah, we'll change the entire rotation to get Zoo back on the damn floor earlier. Zoo had to be better with his body. He had to be better with his assignments, and he had to do even more to keep his teammates accountable, especially considering who the hell you sharing the floor with from a defensive standpoint. He made those dudes look good defensively for most of this season. That's why he was my pick, and I'm sorry to say that most of the other voters didn't share that opinion with me.
I got a buddy from Cleveland who texted me yesterday or the day before and was like, Law Murray's dead to me or something. No, he's an Evan Mobley guy, and he saw that you had Ivica Zubac.
Yeah.
What's the case for Zoo over Mobley?
Then
they are worse defensively. Their defensive rating, they're 8th, I think, this year. Cleveland.
That's still pretty good. Evan definitely was on. Pretty sure Evan was a first team all defensive guy for me. Okay. And look, Evan Mobley impressed me defensively day one. You know what I'm saying? One of Evan's first career games was against the Clippers. I think it was early in the 2022-23 season. And I might be getting my dates wrong. But that was back when Larry Markkinen was playing for Cleveland, and I'm definitely getting my dates mixed up because Evan was a 2021 pick. But early in that season, Cleveland won one of the most ugliest games I've ever seen. And mind you, they're starting Jared Allen, Larry Markin, and Evan Mobley together. And Paul George couldn't figure it out for the life of him. I mean, all this length, no one had any expectations for Cleveland. They had been dog crap for years going into the 2021-22 season. And I saw Evan Mobley, take the rim away, guard the perimeter. Guys weren't afraid to shoot over him. Paul couldn't do anything with him, right? I think the Clippers started 1-4 that season. And that was the one where it's like, oh, the Clippers might actually be terrible this year. And so
then Paul hits the game winner against Houston, I think. Was that year?
Nah, it was the year before.
Okay.
It was the year before because the Clippers wound up recovering from that 1-4 start to win like 7 straight, in that November. This was when Kawhi was out due to ACL surgery. But Evan just didn't make my ballot because I just like other guys better. It's not even about, you didn't. It's like, I just didn't look at Evan as I really like Evan, but I thought Zoo was my number one pick. I thought Amen was going to be like, I was super impressed with Amen Thompson's defensive performance as a perimeter guy for a good defensive team, one better than Cleveland, I might add. And then, I was going to have Dyson on my ballot because that dude had more than 200 steals. Like statistically, I was like, he's going to make my ballot. So if there were 5 choices, Evan probably would have been number 4, to be honest with you.
Does Jared Allen's play take away from Evan at all? Too?
No, not at all. Again, this isn't about what Evan doesn't do. I love Evan Mobley as a defender. That's the thing with these awards. You don't vote for a guy and you're like, well, he must have a shortcoming or it's because you hate him or something like that. And I hope I don't care about the whole you're picking and choosing who gets bonuses in their contracts. I can tell you that will not be an impact on me. I am emotionless when it comes to making these decisions, just like I am about analyzing and covering the league. So for me, I watched Cleveland in person multiple times this year. And I mean, Zoo brought up a good point about the Cleveland bigs. Those guys start together, but they don't play a lot of minutes together. It's the same scam that Dallas is running. Like Anthony Davis, you get to start at power forward, but I got news for you, buddy. You're going to play plenty of center anyway. It's the same thing for Evan. It's the difference is it's nice to start the first and third quarters knowing who you're going to be lining up with. That's why I care about starting lineups. And that's why I always say defense validates your lineups. Have you heard me say that shit before? Okay, so I'm not being brand new about this. Evan Mobley might not start out games at center, but he's playing plenty of center throughout the game. He's got to protect the rim. He's got to do everything that Cleveland asks him to do as a participant and a leader, a keystone of their defense. And that guy is, like I said, he was a first team all defender for me. He just didn't. I had 3 choices. I had 1 first place choice, and I liked other guys more. That's all.
Okay. Lastly, here, Law. I think you touched upon it for a second, but that adjustment to take out Zoo at around the 6-minute mark of the first quarter and put in Ben Simmons, is that more about getting some pace in there early to try to wear down Jokic? Is it about Ivica Zubac getting some time on the court when Jokic is not on the court? What do you think was the biggest reason that Coach Lue pushed that button or pulled that lever in game 2?
The biggest reason is to throw off Nikola Jokic. I think getting Ben Simmons in there while Nikola is late in his first quarter shift, now you're giving Nikola a different type of defender because and this is what I brought up, comparing Luka and Nikola. That dude Nikola is bringing the ball up. He's facilitating everything. He's in the paint looking for his opportunities. He's anticipating those double teams, right? With Zoo can do a lot. What Zoo isn't going to be as comfortable with is being a guy who is in the backcourt guarding anybody or being the guy who is the on-ball screen defender, right? Ben is comfortable with that stuff. Ben can guard you in the backcourt. Ben can pick you up at the level. If you screen Ben, Ben's been in that position before. Whereas Zoo, it's always going to be weird for even a center as effective as Zoo, who's been asked to do uncomfortable things. Like, that's always going to be just different. You give him a different look, and yeah, like if you can get stops, it gets Ben rolling. You know, they're trying to pick up the pace, but also, yeah, when Nikola hits that bench, because he's got to sit at some point, then you know you get some more opportunities for Zoo to go up against. You saw DeAndre Jordan didn't play in game 1; you want to play in game 2.
Is that what Coach Lue said? He forced his hand post game. Was he talking about them having to play DJ to start the second quarter because Zoo was out there?
I gotta go back and listen to that, but I feel
Well,
like
you asked the question, and Coach Lue seemed pretty proud of that move. You could see he was trying to be like, "Look, coy about it."
You know, like I said, I think press conferences are performative. You know, like people ask questions and be like, you know, not going to get into that as much, but like, I was curious about how he would react to that question, because everyone's talking about how T. Lue is slow to make adjustments or whatever, which again, that's just the entire league, executives, other coaches laud Tyronn Lue for what he's able to do, especially in the playoffs, right? And then you got these fans or semi-fans, you know, just these people who like to be selectively angry about the coaching situation, and they'll be like, they'll see a question about Tyronn Lue saying that guys have another chance to show that they should be playing when they should be playing, and everyone wants to get on the coach and say, man, look at what other teams are doing with their adjustments or pulling guys or not playing certain guys. And the head coach can't do that for the Clippers. Like, he's going to wait to lose. And then when they win, and they win in part because they do significantly, you know, just they do tangible things differently. We see adjustments. Like, Ben wasn't playing that rotation. So now Ben plays a rotation. I think that's an adjustment. I'm gonna follow up. And yeah, I think maybe T. Lue's like, oh, you did notice that we did something different. So maybe he had a moment like that, but then he, you know, straightened up real quick, you know. And so maybe they do that again in game 3. Maybe they don't. Clearly, it was a wrinkle for game 2. I don't want to even hype that up too much. Ben didn't even play 10 minutes in game 2, but
they've won the non-Zoo minutes against Jokic so far,
right,
through 2 games. That's interesting to me.
Right, and the thing about it is, you have to beat a team 4 times in their season. You got to do different things. Ben is an effective player in this series, and they're bullying him right now, I guarantee you, because they want him to do things differently. My favorite Ben Simmons play from game 2 was when Kawhi threw this dude a crisp bounce pass, and Ben didn't hesitate. He took that thing right to the cup. Like,
put that shit up, Ben. This is what people say on this show.
I mean, and I asked Ben about it. You know, like, I got Ben. I talked to him after the game. I'm like, the thing with Ben is Ben doesn't get super impressed with himself, but Ben also carries himself like a player who, like, expects to do what he's asked to do. You know, he's like, oh yeah, I did that. I'll do it again. All right, Ben, cool. You know, I mean, I might have that quote when I write for tomorrow morning. So, you know, it's a 1-1 series, Adam. Like, and like everyone has been saying for a few days, this is going to be the most competitive probably of the quarterfinals. And both teams should feel like they've gained some opportunities and kicked away an opportunity. And so that applies to coaches, that applies to the stars, that applies to the guys coming off the bench. It better not apply to y'all damn fans who show up to the game tomorrow. I'll tell you that much.
No, they're coming in hot. I'm telling you. David Adelman made a huge mistake earlier today. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's my one thing. I will always keep that same energy. Like, if I say some shit and I'm wrong, I'll let you know I was wrong, or, you know, I'm not going to get too defensive.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like, I've covered enough playoff series. I've seen enough people be like, "Oh, he shouldn't have said that," and then a week later, y'all ain't saying that anymore.
Law, did you
You
see
know what I'm
my
saying?
tweet about how
Like,
I think Ivica Zubac can outplay Jokic in one game in this series? I got like 100 bookmarks on that tweet. So far, nobody has come at my neck and said, like, you were saying, Adam. Nobody said shit to me yet. And they were all watching that tweet and being like, oh, you don't know who Jokic is. I'm like, yes, I do. I think Zoo can outperform him in one game, impact-wise. I don't know about
yeah.
stats.
Hey, and well, I'll tell you what. To keep it a being, I think we're still waiting on that game.
He's been good, though.
And I think the Clippers. He's been good, but the Clippers are going to need that game where it's just Zoo just consistently finding spots. It might be game 3 again. Kawhi, it's more than just the blitz. Like, they're going to put hands on that dude. Like, you know what I mean? And I mean, maybe they send Kawhi to the free throw line 10 times just to prove a point. Like, it's the playoffs. Like, I'm very interested to see what the officiating is going to look like tomorrow, because you just can't let a guy get comfortable. Like, even if you get in foul trouble, that's not how Denver plays. Denver plays this year. They're not as physical as they usually are. In years past, they've been more physical. This year, they haven't been as physical. They've been a lot more permissive on the perimeter. They've had a lot more mistakes. They've been softer. Like, if we can just keep it,
21st
keep it
defensively. I
100,
mean, come on.
But they've been better defensively in the series than I thought they'd be.
I'll be honest. I expected them to be
gonna
better. Just because a lot of the same guys are there, and there's a care factor once you get into a playoff series. They can. I'm not saying they're going to be top 5 defense all of a sudden, but they're going to try harder.
No, they're going to try harder. They're going to be more attentive to certain things. You can see that they are, even though they are bad at forcing turnovers overall, they have guys who have good hands. Russell Westbrook is one of those guys. Nikola Jokic is one of the very best players in the league at forcing turnovers, getting steals, playing different coverages. Nikola knows what you're doing. He might not be able to stop it, but he knows what he needs to do or what he can do. That's why Nikola's tired at the end of the games. That's why Nikola's exaggerating contact. He's trying to get as many whistles, as many breaks as he can, because if Nikola doesn't play with peak effort on that end of the floor, his team is going to get cooked. All those guys know it. These guys are champions, and they should be respected as such. They're not as good, but they are still they have a quality that allows them to outperform whatever the paper might say. If the Clippers don't bring that same level of urgency, awareness, and intensity and physicality, and quite frankly, talent, if guys don't play up to their ability, they're not going to win the series.
I agree. The thing that scared me most about Denver is, can you out execute them in tight situations down the stretch? They couldn't in game 1. They did in game 2, but I will say there were some things you can't rely upon happening again, like a missed dunk from Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, look, the Clippers can be fortunate about how game 2 went, but the Clippers can also say that the game that they lost was more regrettable than the game that Denver lost. But the game that Denver lost means more because they lost it on their home floor. They lost home court advantage. The Clippers lost a 15-point lead, and it took overtime for them to completely lose that lead. And so, like I said, this is as even as it gets. 1 point separates the series. It's tied at 1-1. You got a venue change. You have home court advantage until you don't, if you're looking at this like the Clippers. And guess what? The Clippers can win game 3 and 4, and no one's going to be comfortable because everyone's going to talk about 3-1 and what that means for Denver, because they've got experience coming back.
I know. I mentioned that earlier. I'm like, you got to win both games at Intuit Dome. I know 3-1's going to look bad if they do that to you, but you need to be able to defend home court, because I don't know if you're getting another game.
Yeah, the Clippers have never had a 3-1 lead under T. Lue. Okay, like it's not happened. This is Tyronn Lue's 6th playoff series as a head coach of the Clippers.
Yeah,
and he lost game 2 of every one of those series before Monday night. And so a lot of this is mental, man. Like, people can lie, athletes included, the guys I talked about today included, and act like certain things aren't going to affect them or it's irrelevant. No, when it becomes you You think about it. When you're at the free throw line, knowing how big the moment is, you're thinking about it, and you got to overcome it, and you can't let it consume you. You know, your head coach talks smack. Yeah, you better. If you're a Nuggets player, you better back that up. You know, if you're a Clippers player and you hear that, you know that it only matters if you play well enough to keep your crowd in the game.
And the crowd has to stay locked in for 48, maybe plus minutes at Intuit Dome tomorrow night for Game 3. He's Law Murray of The Athletic. I just put the link in. You sons of bitches, y'all better subscribe to Law Murray at The Athletic right now after the hour he just did here on Clippers Talk. If you love the show, if you love Law, support Law. Support good journalism. Support the guy who's been there out on the road for every damn game this season with this Clippers and for years before this year. So
not every game, just the ones the Athletic lets
well,
me.
more than anyone else, though. All right.
A healthy percentage.
Yeah.
Let's put
No,
it
there
that.
were a couple. I was like, "Where's Law? I need Law there. I need some post game." All right, Law. Appreciate you
Hey,
doing
man,
this.
I'll say some money.
We'll see you there. Game 3 tomorrow night. Gonna be loud. Gonna be crazy. I'll come say what's up to you pre-game at the presser.
Peace out, y'all. I got to
Get it. There he goes. Law Murray. I mean it. I put the link in here. I'm not playing. You guys better subscribe. Let Law know. You saw him on Clippers Talk. You listened to him give his basketball opinions. Give us his reasoning for his votes for the NBA awards this year. How cool is that? That was special. That was fun. We'll see how this goes. Clavon has just called into Clippers Talk. Clavon from Michigan, the floor is yours.
Oh, wait. No lie. We fly high. We ballin'. Ballin'. Hey, look, man, I'm going to tell you like this. I love it. Hey, good job. Good take. You know what I'm saying? Law Murray, Adam, you always doing the killer job. Real talk. They out here talking crazy. The Nuggets coach sitting up here talking about high school basketball. Look, man, what? Man, y'all better be lucky I ain't on the wall. Boy, because I'll make some noise, too. We got to get out there and make that noise and make them feel our presence, Adam. Yo, real talk, man. Out here talking about, they can keep it up. Man, they be hating on the Intuit. Y'all, they be slick. Y'all, they slick, salty as hell about the Intuit Dome, dog. Because they go back to the Nuggets and they got to look at their little dinky arena. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't half bad. But, dog, we out here setting the standard. You know what I'm saying? Especially on the playoffs. And you right. Hey, Adam, when we played Cleveland, man, that's all everybody was talking about, how loud it was. How much now we out here in a real playoffs game playing against the Nuggets. Hey, man, we starting a little rivalry. Depending on how this game goes, yo, man, especially with the shooter conflict going on with Murray and Powell, yo, man, we out here, we about to do some real damage, dog. About to do some damage. And I expect them, you know what I'm saying? I expect their coach to talk that type of shit. It makes sense, man. Because when you got a Cinderella in the building, and you know what I'm saying, you had the two ugly stepsisters that had to talk shit. Look at Cinderella. Oh, damn, fuck her and all of that. Yeah, that's all right, dog. But put that glass slipper on us. You know what I'm saying? At the end of this motherfucking playoffs, man, they're going to have to put that glass slipper on that foot. They're going to have to slide that ring on that finger because, man, let me tell you something. We've been out here playing with some super heart, and the chemistry is out of this world. I'm sitting back looking at listening to you, play how Powell and Tyronn Lue and everybody felt. And it's like, man, I think the biggest thing that one of Tyronn Lue's superpowers, Adam, is the fact that he make players feel wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I don't know how it is with the individual relationships that he shares with each player, but it feels like every player feels like they want it. And I don't even see that from the Oklahoma lineup and the chemistry with their coach. We got a coach, and we got a great coach, and we got a great owner. We got great coaches. Each one of them coaches, man, B. Shaw stepped up, man. He held it down. Yo, man, we got Jeff Van Gundy. We got a line of coaches that can each be individual coaches. We got a great head coach, and then we got a damn great owner in Steve Ballmer, man. Man, come on, dog. You can't tell me this ain't time. Hey, and it's angels above the rim, baby. We got them angels out there with us, and we getting up on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. It's good for them to talk that about the Intuit Dome. I mean, they slide hating. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. That's fine because that's like, until I see it, man, I can't wait to see it with my eyes. Hell, I might have water. My damn, hey, I might tell you it's my allergies and shit. My eyes might start watering and shit. Hey, I'm going to come up there and I'm going to holler straight at you, too. I'm going to be like, yeah, I made it. I made it. I'm in this bitch, dog. I made it, man. Woo! Yeah. I can't wait for that day. You know what I'm saying? Even better in the playoffs. Man, if I pull up on you, Adam, in the playoffs, man, I'm going to have a Kawhi. I'm going to have a Pacific Blue Kawhi Leonard jersey on with the matching kicks, the outfit, and I'm going to be showing out. And I'm going to have that, put that poop emoji up, Ben. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have that sign. And, hey, I'm going to hold it up, too. Put that, hey, let me get on the wall, too. Oh, shit. Don't let me get on that wall. I had that, put that shit up, man. Put it up, man. I had that straight up. Hey, I had that, hey, put it up, poop emoji, Ben. Hey, Clippers Nation, if y'all ain't even did it yet, please do that. Put that poop emoji up, Ben. Put it up, exclamation point. Put it on there, man. Put it on a T-shirt. Put it on a ball cap, because Murray was right when Kawhi passed that ball to Ben Simmons, and he didn't even hesitate. He put it up. Look, everybody talking shit about Ben and Bogdanovich. Understand this, dude. They come in when it's time for them to activate. Right now, they having a dry spell, and so people are lagging off on them. They're not taking them serious. That's where we want them. That's where we want them. Because when it comes time for them to activate, it's going to be like a goddamn secret weapon on their ass, man. And they ain't going to understand what happened. They ain't going to realize they got their ass split in half. Because when a clipper hits you, it's going to split your ass in half like a wave all day. And I think that this is the ultimate underestimation of the abilities that we possess. Because we got so many weapons for their ass. It's not even funny, man. And look at that. Hey, Adam, I know you was sitting on the edge of your seat with when Westbrook made them little threes. I know you was like, God damn, man, is it about to happen? Is he about to go nuclear with them threes, dog?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Hey, I was like, damn, man. Hey, you know, we still got a good amount of games to go, but it's like just knowing that, just seeing how that happened and stuff. I think that, you know, that makes this series even better, because I have nothing but respect for the former Clipper himself, DeAndre Jordan, and for Russell Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? I show love. I ain't gonna hold you up. We gonna chew your ass up, spit you out. But I got love. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't afraid to admit that. You know, because I love to see players come from the Clips, and they had a great spirit, great heart. Hey, I saw Russell Westbrook. He was at that Kendrick Lamar pop-out concert, and he was up on stage with DeMar DeRozan. Hey, man, I love it when they hold it down for the city, because they have genuine love, you know what I'm saying, for the city and shit. Because not just because they from the city, but, you know what I'm saying, the city gives back to them. And I think that right there is a powerful thing. And I think that's what we have with Kawhi Leonard, with Powell, with Ibiza Zubac. Like, man, they probably couldn't even walk. They couldn't even let their feet just touch the street on an average sunny day in California, because even though that's a so-called Clippers town, a Lakers town, I said it right, it's going to be a Clippers town. But even though it's a Lakers town, man, the amount of love that they would get, man, I know it would be superior. They could probably go into blood and Crip neighborhoods, man, because they so well respected. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, hey, for so far as Ibiza Zubac and Chris Dunn, even though they might not get those accolades, that's all right. Because we already saw what happened to Powell. He should have got his flowers, but you know what? That's fine, man. He did make it to the 3-point contest, but he should have made it to the All-Star team. And we got snubbed 3 times, you know what I'm saying? And they do need to change their rule, you know, because what is it? How many games did Chris Dunn, they said, have to play on the Clippers to be part of the Defensive Player of the Year?
It's a certain amount of minutes that he missed. I think getting to 25, something like that, 20 or 25 minutes.
Man, that's goofy as hell, man. They always doing something to snub the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's the rule, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they need to go ahead and change that rule because the abilities that he possesses, that was one of the finest pickups that we had, okay? Hey, when he came in and our defensive positioning changed, he changes the dynamics of the floor, especially as a starter. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is so powerful because it's not only that he's stealing the ball, but he's playing aggressively. And that, hey, I saw that when Jamal Murray picked up Powell. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, get out of here. And then he messed around and his ass got you got to shoot the one free throw and he ain't get no foul. I was like, man, this is trash, dog. We saw how they do it. Hey, like Jamal Murray said, the Nuggets they beat them. They looking a little softer this year, but you know everybody likes to eat the soft nuggets. We don't want just the crunchy ones. You want that soft, white meat in the middle chicken nuggets. You know what I'm saying? These the Denver McNuggets, hey, they're gonna have a problem coming to Intuit Dome. Hey, it's gonna be loud as hell. We got some of the dopest fans, and I think that the rest of the NBA is put on notice, seeing us get to a high position like that. Now they recognize that we got our own home. We got a real home court advantage now. Ooh, wee! Hey, man, it ain't nothing but love. And I think that now that the whole city is realizing that, I think them Lakers fans, man, I think they're yellow for a reason, boy. Their belly getting yellow, dog. They looking mad hurt, son. They looking real scared, Adam. You know what I'm saying? And look, when it comes down to it, don't trip on Bogdanovich. It's going to come. We already seen the abilities he has. I think here in Game 3, I think he's going to I'm going to give him 3 to 4 3-pointers, and I think he's going to bring down some key rebounds and make some powerful defensive stops, and he's going to be, from there, sky's the limit the rest of the playoff series. You know what I'm saying? I think that Bogdanovich, everybody's always so quick to talk trash. Like, oh, he ain't have a good guy. Oh, shit, Bogdanovich is trash. Oh, man, you crazy as hell, dog. Everybody making adjustments. You got to think, this is his first year. Everybody's making adjustments. The first year with a team in the playoffs, that's a whole nother energy. That's a whole nother pressure. You know what I'm saying? And that pressure that you see them exerting and pushing through, hey, that's what the Clippers do. We overcome grave obstacles. Nobody expected us to hit over 50 games. They are all talking all the Clippers. The Clippers, yeah, well, we can stay healthy, and it's all this crazy mess. Look, we have different players that can step up and that can actually take the charge, and we got them angels above the rim that's just making them drop for us. Look, and so far as what you were saying with the defensive capability, the offensive and defensive rebounding, I think that's going to pick up this game because the energy that if we was able to beat the Nuggets at home and we was giving them the issues that they received at home, when we at home, it's going to be a whole nother feel. This is the first playoff game at the Intuit Dome, Adam. You can't tell me they spirits ain't jumping in their bodies right now. You know what I'm saying? We finna get out here and let me tell you something. In the first half, that'll be so cold. We see Derrick Jones Jr. jump out the rim and dunk on somebody's head. You know what I'm saying? Put that ball on somebody's head. Man, it's gonna be hype. Alley-oops, James Harden gonna be out here feeding. Look, man, and Kawhi Leonard, he don't have to play super hard. All he got to do is find his positions. Hey, I think the biggest pressure on that would be like, hey, Kawhi, come out there and shine, but you ain't got to put up a whole bunch of super points. Everybody else is going to fall into position so he doesn't have to. I think we see that often when Kawhi Leonard has to activate that second gear or that third gear like Luffy. I see that he has to activate that because he's compensating a lot of the times for different players in their lack of scoring at the time, which is not bad, but it's something that I think that they see, and just like they corrected all of the different issues that they had in Game 1, they corrected that in Game 2. And now we started showing out, you know what I'm saying? And so Game 3, Game 4, and on, hey, we ain't doing nothing but gaining more confidence, chemistry, and accountability on the floor, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this, Adam. I know you're going to be out there showing out. You know what I'm saying? I know you're going to pop up with your suit on. You know, what Clippers jersey you got, Adam?
Damn, do I have a Clippers jersey? Like I'm not a jersey guy. I'm too old for that shit. Like I got t-shirts, I got hats.
Adam?
Too old to want to answer that damn question, Clavon.
Man, I know you ain't older than me, Adam. I'm just here 40, cuz. Yeah, all right, man. You better go and represent. Go ahead and pop
I
up.
got a hat on every day representing. What are you talking? I got sweatshirts. I got everything.
Oh, man, that. Look, man, we in the playoffs, Adam. You got to get to, just because we in the playoffs first for the Intuit Dome, you know what I'm saying, man? You got to get you a nice little throwback, you know, a hardwood classic or something. I see you repping with the hat, the ball cap, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. But, man, come on, Adam. You got to get
only
something
one
on your back.
There's only one jersey that I have worn in the last 15 years, and it's actually a Lakers jersey, Clavon. But hold on. Let me explain. It's a Lakers jersey that's customized to have a 6 on it and Bavetta on the back of it to represent the game where he played for the Lakers back in 2002. Dick Bavetta, the referee, was playing for him against the Sacramento Kings in the Western Conference Finals, especially in Game 6. That's the only jersey I've worn.
Okay, we're gonna let you slide with that, Adam. I was like, damn, what you had with? I thought you gonna say I had a Kobe Bryant jersey on or some shit. I was like, oh man, shit.
No. R.I.P., but I was not repping that era. Look, Magic Johnson's one of my favorite players ever. But no. I did not like after the Magic Johnson Showtime era, I couldn't stand the Lakers. And I was so young for the Showtime era, you can't hold it against me for loving Magic Johnson as a kid.
Hey, real talk, man. Look, they have that show called Dynasty, and it's about the Lakers dynasty and stuff. And it's good as hell, man. They show
good.
you know,
I'm good.
Magic
I know
Johnson.
enough. I've lived it. I know enough. I'm good. I'll tell you what. I miss Winning Time. That show was great on HBO. They were just getting started with
That's
that.
the one. Is that the one with the Clippers?
No, that's Clipped. That's the one on Hulu. That was good too. That was the whole Donald Sterling fiasco in 2014, or the unfortunate first round series against Golden State, him being banned from the NBA, all that.
Wait, what was it called? You said it was called Clips. It's on Hulu?
Clipped on Hulu.
Woo-wee. I'm finna look at that tonight. I ain't gonna hold you up, man. I ain't finna hold you up. I'm finna check that out because I was wondering what it was called.
For 15 minutes already. I think I gotta get going here, Cliff.
Hey, man. Hey, Adam, man. Go ahead and you get your rest.
Hey,
wait.
Wait. Do you know that people at the watch party at Intuit Dome for the first 2 road games, when Ben Simmons has the ball, has been screaming? People have been screaming, "Put that shit up, Ben." Do you know people are screaming that? They're saying it in the wall. They're saying it.
Hey, look, Adam. And when it gets to Ben Simmons' ear, it's gonna activate that X factor in him. It's gonna make him go Super Saiyan. And I'm telling you, we're gonna see. Look, just because of the love from the city and the love that he has from the coaching staff and the whole team, I think that's gonna help him come out of that funk that he's been in, and he's gonna make everybody look stupid, dog. I can feel that shit in my bones, dog. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it, Adam. Hey, and when it happens, everybody just gonna be like, damn, and they ain't gonna do nothing but have their mouth open and shit, looking stupid, because you cannot knock a good player. It's all about where they go. And if they go to a team that respects them and that loves them, and they're a great player in general, and they get that boost of confidence, man, that can look, I think that's why Kawhi's been able to bounce back like he has. The love from the city, the love from the staff, the love from his teammates. You know what I'm saying? Not to say because he's not just because he's a legendary player, but I think that energy, you don't get that everywhere. You don't get that on the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a nice little punk ass lineup, and you know what I'm saying? But I don't sense that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm an energy person for real. You know what I mean? And I do not sense that type. Like, they got decent chemistry, but even with the Wolves, it just seemed like they're here and they're there. I mean, look at the whole East. You know what I'm saying? The Pacers is straight. You know what I'm saying? But everybody, it's just not the same, dog. Like, even the Oklahoma got great chemistry. They got great players. but I still feel like up and down edginess, like, because they always jumping on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's back and shit if the game doesn't go right in the press conferences, and I think that shit trickles down to the locker room, and I'm telling you, it affects you in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is a couple bad games to make a great team detour, because once their chemistry gets thrown off or their confidence, man, that shit is out the window, Adam. Real talk.
All right, Clavon. You got 30 seconds. Close this thing out right and pump up everybody for the first game ever at Intuit Dome tomorrow.
Well, congregation, we're going to get the ball, and we're going to pass it to Kawhi, and then he's going to pass it to James Harden, and then he's going to put up a three. Then Kawhi's going to put up a three, and then we're going to feed Zubac in the post while Chris Dunn comes in with the hella steals and the hella rebounds, and the whole team is going to cheer, and we're going to throw up three-pointers three fingers. As soon as Powell put up them threes, we're going to be like, pow, pow, pow. Because guess what? We're going into game 3, and we're going to drop threes, and we're going to cut their ass in half like a wave, because that's what happens when a clipper hits you. You dig? Hey, clip in 6. Let's get it.
Clavon from Michigan. Absolute legend. Another legendary call. Another source of sound bites that I'm going to have to pull from here. I mean, this is incredible. Cup runneth over.
Made it. I made it. I'm in this bitch, dog. I made it, man. Woo! Yeah. I can't wait for that day. Too. I'm going to be like, yeah, straight at you, too. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to come up there and I'm going to holler straight at you, too. I'm going to be like, yeah, I made it. I made it. I'm in this bitch, dog. I made it, man. Woo! Yeah. I'm in this bitch, dog. I'm in this bitch, dog.
That might be my new favorite. Before we get out of here, I got to hear it one more time from David Adelman, just to be sure that he was throwing shade at the Clippers. You know, I want to do this properly. I want to hold up any journalistic integrity. I can't even say journalistic integrity I have. Here was David Adelman earlier today on Intuit Dome.
Playing through that, and game one, care of it, and give ourselves a chance to win down there.
Yeah, you mentioned hostile crowd, and I asked Peyton as a SoCal kid, with it being really a Lakers town.
Yeah.
Them having their own building, did you notice a difference with the Clippers now? And obviously it's an amazing building, but in their own space, you've gone there forever when it's been the Lakers building.
Yeah, 2 things stood out to me. One, they have the crowd at the end of towards our bench that it's like a high school crowd, which is actually really cool. And the other thing is they pump sound in that place. That place is so loud. It reminds me of Phoenix. We lost there a couple years ago in the second round, where you couldn't even hear each other talk to each other, at the timeouts with coaches. So that building is it's very loud, whether the crowd is cheering or not. So we have to be prepared for that. It is an amazing place, by the way. I'd love to go see a concert there. It's absolutely crazy. But no, we're excited to go down there and play.
Did it have an impact on the free throw shooting in that game that you guys played there? I think it's like 10 for 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's different. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you kind of go back in the past, what you used to see in college, high school, that kind of stuff. So it's a cool thing. I don't know how long it'll survive. It's a cool idea. And the old school NBA used to be like that, the smaller venues, like when I was.
I don't know how long it will survive. Here's how I'm saying. Clipper Nation needs to show up tomorrow.
Lost the game. Yeah, they kind of on the record. Did that change anything in your?
All right, Clanton.
David.
You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it. You see that? It says United States Marshal.
What? Please don't kill me. Please.
Take a good look at him, Mike, because that's how you're going to end up. The Cowboys are finished. You understand me? I see a red sash. I kill a man wearing it. So run, you cur. Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming.
The wall is coming.
Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming.
The wall is coming.
Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
See you guys tomorrow at the Dome.